This is for the ones who were raised on gasoline dreams, for the lug nuts holding tight to the wild red line scenes, for the families, the drivers, the wrench turning crews, for the chrome, the smoke, and the ones who refuse to lose. Where horsepower meets heart, yeah, that's who we are. We're a culture, we're a brotherhood, we are rolling motor fire. Build not borrowed, that's the creed written deep in our veins. We turn busted cars into legends and rust into fame. From late night garage grind to race day stadium roars. Every scar on our knuckles unlocked 1,000 doors. We don't back down, we don't break, we don't fold. Every ride we build tells a story worth gold. This is for the ones who were raised on gasoline trains, for the lug nuts holding tight to the wild red line scenes, for the families, the drivers, the wrench turning crews, for the chrome, the smoke, and the ones who refuse to lose. Where horsepower meets heart, yeah, that's who we are. We're a culture, we're a brotherhood, we are rolling motor fire. Here's to the nights when the world said slow down, but the engine said no and we stood our ground. To the ones who grew up rich and when the rest took the easy way, we found our path in the piston noise and we'll ride it every day. Pedal to the metal, this is where we belong. Cars, trucks, monster trucks, loud and strong. Passion, pride, lug nuts, side by side. If you love what you drive, then ride, ride, ride. This is for the legends that started in dusty garages, for the kids who chase dreams through the scars and collages, for the racers who gave everything without fail, and the fans who stand proud when the engines wail. Where horsepower meets heart, yeah, this ain't a phase. It's our passion, our culture, and we'll live into the grave. Pedal to the metal, forever in our veins. So look out, we're only getting louder from here. Nothing built strong was ever built out of fear. The road is wide open and the fire won't slow, because this isn't a hobby, this is the only life we know. Pedal down, heads high. We're not done. Pedal down, heads high. Pedal down. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. You're listening to Pedal to the Metal, Motors and Music, the show where horsepower, stories, and great music come together. From beautiful collector classics to fire-breathing race cars to the ground-shaking thunder of monster trucks, this is where the world of motors meets the power of music. So strap in tight, fire up, and grab your favorite cold drink, because a ride is about to begin. And now, here's your host, Roller.
Hump Day's in the house right now. Hey, welcome. I'm glad you're all here, man. I got all my beer garden rowdies up here in the front. What's up, gentlemen? How y'all doing tonight, man? All the mezzanine is full. What's up there? How you guys doing, man? Good to see ya. We got another sold-out show, guys. 8,500 in the studio tonight. 8,500 right here in the studio, man. Making it happen. All right, let's just calm it down. Come on. Let's bring it down here. We'll save it for Danny Maass. We always got to save it for the star of the show. I'm just a host. That's all that I am, just a host. Let's bring it down just a little. We got a lot of things to talk about, and we got some new music to play, man. That's what it's all about right here on Pedal to the Metal, Motors, and Music. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you very much. Tonight, let's just start off with our guest tonight, Danny Maass. Danny is the owner of Maass Media. He has been in the monster truck game for a long time. Danny's the guy behind the lens of the camera, man. He takes some fantastic footage. Some of the greatest shots you've seen are created by Maass Media, and it's going to be a good show, man. Danny and I are old friends, and we're going to talk about a little bit about everything. He's on the Monster blog. He works for Bigfoot. He also works for the Toughest Monster Truck Tour. Anything that this guy can do with monster trucks, he's there doing it. And he also takes some other fantastic photos and different things like that. So, hello, Carter. How are you, baby girl? Got Jordan in the house. Got Robert Haas in the house, my brother from another mother. What's up, baby? How you doing, man? Patty and Doug Pearson are in the house right here. My cousin Debbie. We got Tony Curcio in the house, man. Just a great lineup so far, and we're just getting started, man. We're just getting started. Now, if you guys remember, make sure you got a pad and a pencil and a piece of paper to write on, because we're going to be giving you some email addresses and different things like that you need to go ahead and write these emails down, especially if you're going to order any of this stuff that we're talking about. But tonight, Danny Maass is on. On the 29th, we got J.R. Adams from the Bigfoot group, man. He's on. And then we swing over to April. And April is huge, man. April is the Young Guns of auctioneering. They're going to kick off. Not much, Tony. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. We got to get you on the show. We had a fantastic show with your dad, man. And we might as well follow it up with the next generation and get you on there, cuz. So we'll talk soon, man, and get you on the show. But April, man, April is so full already that it's crazy. It's the Young Guns of auctioneering, man. These guys are going to take the first half of the show from the 6 o'clock hour to the 7 o'clock. And these are all the young guns that kind of in Colorado, and there's another one down in Texas. And we're going to be talking to them about their career becoming a monster truck. I mean, not monster truck. Excuse me, I'm all shook up. But anyway, we're going to be talking to these guys about their careers, just getting started in the auctioneering industry, which I am glad that I'm in, and what a great job it is, man. It's just such a beautiful job, and I just love it, man. I really do. And that with my monster truck career, and then plus hanging out with my lug nuts. I hang out with my lug nuts. But anyway, we're gonna talk to them about their careers, but we're gonna kick it off on the 5th with Scott Goodyew, and Scott is a 2-time world champion auctioneer, and we're gonna be talking about these young guns. These are the guys that are gonna be replacing us. They're gonna be taking our jobs. Why should we be giving them any credit? Well, I'll tell you what. In the auctioneer world, we want to be able to leave a good legacy, and Scott has done this. Scott has mentored almost every one of these kids. And these young men are fantastic auctioneers, and we're going to hear about their career starting out and what they have plans of doing and what they think the auction industry is going to be like and stuff. And then we're going to kick it off after that. We'll kick it off on Wednesday the 1st. We got Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson's a hot rod builder. And we're going to be talking to Mike about his career in the hot rod building industry and stuff like that. And then on the 5th, we got Tony Giannetta. And Tony is a hot rod collector and car enthusiast down in Pueblo, Colorado. He's going to be on the show. He's going to be talking about his collection. He's going to be in my car show, which we'll be talking about here in just a minute. And Tony's going to be on, and it's we happen to have a little history of the family together. Not family history, but I hung out with some of his family, and I've known him when he was a little guy. And then, excuse me, on the 8th, we got legendary monster truck, and now, excuse me, boy, I got the hiccups tonight. Mr. Dave Gross, and he's going to be on there. Hello, Kevin Dickey. How are you, my friend? Good to see you, man. But anyway, Dave Gross is going to be on, and he has got a fantastic story, man. This gentleman has spent more time in the monster truck business, announcing shows and different things like that, and his career in radio and different things. And we'll be talking to him about his career. And then on the 12th, we're going to talk to Mike Welsh. Mike Welsh is a legendary monster truck announcer, monster truck guy. He does some his own shows. He's an announcer too, but he's well known for the monster truck Super Pete back in the day. And we're going to be talking to him. And then on the 15th, we talked to Gregory Dr. Danger himself, man. He's going to be on the show. And this gentleman, he is just, when I first met him, I called him Dr. Death. And he come up to me one day and he goes, Roller, it's not Dr. Death, it's Dr. Danger. I said, well, it should be Dr. Death because the stuff you're doing is crazy. I mean, this man will set himself afire. This man will blow himself up. This man will jump in a car that's on fire, jump into two buses that are stacked upright on top of each other and let them fall in on him. He has done more stuff than you can shake a stick on. Wayne Norby, how you doing, man? Good to see you on here. But anyway, we're going to be talking to him. That's going to be another good show. Then we have the owner of Sunrise Hot Rod and Customs, Mr. Jeff Little. He'll be on the show on the 19th, and Jeff's going to be talking about his shop and stuff like that. And it's going to be another good show, man, right there. And then we're going to jump over to the music side of the show on the 22nd. We're going to be talking to a gentleman that is a local entertainer here, and he goes by the name of Deadbird. And we're going to be talking about his music and talking to him on his stuff. And he was on the show when I had Atom on. And Adam's going to be, maybe he'll be on. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk to him too. But Deadbird's going to be on. And then, of course, on the 26th, it's going to be open. We'll probably just play some music since we hadn't played music very much then. And then on the 29th, we have the same thing. We'll probably do a little bit more music unless I fill those spots up. We are in talks with some different gentlemen and stuff like that, and we'll try to get those dates filled up if nothing else. Now, the car show. The car show is May 31st in Pueblo, Colorado, and I am so stoked the way this show is turning out and the location that this show is going to be at. This location was my dad's very first car lot back in Pueblo, Colorado. We had the standard station, we had the wrecker service, and my dad opened his car lot right there. And that station is still standing. It's there right now. It's a bread shop, and it's called Seppi's Chala Breads. And I've teamed up with Ellie, and we are going to have the very first car show there of Rollers car shows. And if this is a big turnout, man, we're going to go ahead and do more and more and get bigger and bigger. But it's May 31st. The location is 131 Broadway Avenue in Pueblo, Colorado. Registration probably opens 7:30, 8 o'clock. The show is from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We're expecting 30 cars. Now, I'm working on some more space. If I can get that space taken care of, then we will let you know more about those extra numbers that are coming in as soon as possible. So we're going to do a first place by Pedal to the Metal, a second place by Seppi's Chala Breads, and a third place by legendary bar in town called the Broadway Tavern and Grill. I went to school with this guy. His name is Greg Frankmore, and Greg has donated a $25 third place gift certificate to the Broadway Tavern and Grill. So we're going to do that. And then Jeff Little is going to give the Best Paint Award out, and that's going to be per his shop, Sunrise Customs and Hot Rods. So that's going to be a good time, man. I look forward to it. We have one place left out of the 30 numbers. One place is left out of the 30 numbers to go ahead and pre-register for that show. If you'd like to, make sure you get a hold of me at Jeff Richards jeffrichards327@gmail.com. That's jeffrichards327@gmail.com. And I know that my secretaries, Debbie and Carter, are going to be putting those addresses up and all that stuff. So I can see that they're doing that right now. And there's the Broadway Tavern and Grill. You can see Seppi's Challah Breads right there. And then there's my brother, B.J. Johnson. How you doing, man? Regardless, keep it on rolling. And we're going to be talking to Mr. B.J. and all those guys real soon. Now, we got a special date coming up. And I want you guys to circle this date on your calendar. My buddy, I just met him, but it feels like me and this guy have known each other forever. And his name is Robert Haas. And Robert has a compound, and he's going to be doing a show. And he's going to have B.J. Johnson there. He's going to have Kevin King there. And they're going to be driving some of his monster trucks. And then after the show, they're going to go to Robert's house, which is his compound. And we're going to do a special show on the 17th of April. You guys got to show up, man. You got to listen in. This man has got some beautiful, beautiful vehicles, and he's going to have some great talent there driving them. And we're going to sit down and we're going to talk, and we're going to have BJ's there, Kevin King's there. We're going to have Robert's going to be there, of course, and it's just going to be a great, great show. So make sure you mark it. That's April the 17th. That's going to be another fantastic, fantastic show right there. And it's a Friday, and we don't do shows on Friday. But Robert asked if we could do a show on Friday, and I said, yeah, we can do that. We can definitely do that just because of everything that you got going on, man. I think it'd be a great show. So I'd like to thank my folks at Arch Auto Glass. His name is Art, and Art has a mobile glass service. If you're in the Colorado area right here, Denver metro area, Parker, stuff like that, he can come directly to you and replace your windshield, replace your side glass. And if you mention the show, you get 10% off of installation. That's phone number is 720-296-8635. That's 720-296-8635. Mention the show, you get 10% off right here. Let's see, Kevin Dickey typed in and said, yep, and then we'll tell them about that in a minute. Kevin, thank you so much. But anyway, Art does a fantastic job. When he's done, he cleans up his mess. There's nothing laying around in the parking lot. He hauls off the old windshield or the side glass, and he definitely takes care of you. So make sure you get a hold of the folks at Arch Auto Glass. Now, we're having trophies made. They are physically in production right now with Jesse Scott. Jesse Scott Crafts and Creations has created some great ideas, and you can go to his website. That's Jesse Scott Crafts and Creations. His website is www.jessescott.com. That's his email, I'm sorry. But anyway, you can find him on Facebook, or his phone number is 715-721-5999. That's Jesse Scott Crafts and Creations Studio, 715-721-5999. And Jesse makes different items right here. He makes a big, tall spark plug, which you're going to be getting trophies made out of. And then he also makes like these light boxes and different things like that. And this light box, I got the new light box in for the new logo, and it's sitting over here on the table. So we're going to be giving this one away, and I don't know how we're going to give it away. I'm going to think of something, and we are going to give this light box away to some listener. Now, this is the old logo, of course. It says Pedal to the Metal podcast with your host, Roller. And but somebody's going to be receiving this one here. We'll send that to you. So that's all courtesy of Jesse Scott Studios, man. So make sure you get a hold of him if you need anything. Seppi's Challah Breads. This lady, she makes a fantastic bread. She has a raisin and cinnamon. She has a chocolate chip. And then she has a regular loaf of bread. There's 3 different styles for right now. And she has been in the game for a long time. And if you're looking for some good bread, stop by. They're located at 131 Broadway Avenue in Pueblo, Colorado. Her name is Ellie, and her website is www.seppiskosher.com. That's www.seppiskosher.com. And you can get a hold of them. they can send that bread to you. They can mail it to you, or you go by the shop and get it fresh. But they are a big sponsor of Pedal to the Metal, and we are so happy to have them. Now, if you're looking for stickers, yep, we got them. We've got them right now. I haven't been able to get a hold of just because of everything. Some of you might know, on Tuesday going down to Springs, I hit a deer, okay? And so I've been trying to get parts for my truck and try to get it back on the road. It's still drivable, but it's just the front corner on the driver's side is all banged in and stuff, and I got to pull the bumper or replace the bumper. I don't know what I got to do, but that darn Bambi, her mama just jumped out in front of me. I didn't have no choice but to put her right down, but we hit it good, man, I guarantee. But everything's okay, except for I don't think Bambi's mama made it, okay? I'm really going to be honest with you. I don't think she made it. But anyway, the stickers, here they are. We got the small ones. Now, this is Pedal to the Metal Motors and Music. They're the small ones right here. Then we've got some Rolling with Roller and Derek. This is the hot rod right here. We've got the larger Pedal to the Metal Motors and Music sticker right here. We have some of the old Pedal to the Metal with your host roller stickers, but these are not going to be made anymore. So if you're looking, once these are done, they're done. So if you want to collect one of the old ones, you can get it. Then we have another one here that's Rolling with Roller and Derek. It's a V8 motor. And then we have the very first original sticker made by my brother, Texas Rich. This is Rolling with Roller and Derek. This is just a sticker, and we don't have very many of those, and we're going to be giving those out. But you can go to our website at www.pedaltothemetalpodcast.com, and you can go on there and you can get swag. You can do everything, man. You can watch old episodes. You can buy T-shirts. We got tennis shoes. We got T-shirts. Let's see there. I believe there's some socks. We've got coffee mugs. We got a little bit of everything. We also have hoodies and sweatshirts and stuff like that. So if you're interested, man, we also have some large cold or hot drinking cups that you can get. And if you're interested, I haven't updated that one either. I'm kind of a procrastinator. I tend to forget about stuff, and I should write stuff down, but I got to update the logo on all the new merchandise and stuff like that. So that that merchandise right there, all you got to do is just go to the website. It's www.pedaltothemetalpodcast.com, and you can click the link right there. There's a link for the Monster Truck Hall of Fame. There's a link for the fourthwall.com where you buy the clothing. You can watch the old episodes. You can submit a form, and you can be on the show. We'll take a look at the form, and we can put you on the show and different things like that. So everything working out pretty good. Everything's smooth, and we're making it happen for you, our lug nuts. So I'll tell you what, I've been working on some songs and different things like that. So we'll go ahead right now, and we'll play our first song that we're working on here. Let's see here. How about this one? It's called Daddy's Old C10. We'll be right back here on Pedal to the Metal, Motors and Music.
Mama and Daddy were gone out of town. Me and my buddies were messing around. Keys on the table, truck in the drive. Temptation hit me right between the eyes. That old C10 sitting in the moonlight glow. Daddy's pride and joy, that truck he loved so. I said, boys, let's take her just a mile or two. Next thing I knew, we were tearing through town like fools. Running dirt roads, laughing out loud, young and wild with the radio loud. Didn't think nothing could go wrong that night. Just a bunch of boys in Daddy's old truck. But life can turn in a second or two when you're driving faster than you ought to do. And every young man knows that feeling of dread when you tear up your daddy's old truck instead. That curve way too fast, gravel and dust started flying past. Lost lost control in a cloud of dirt. Everything stopped in a second of hurt. Hit that tree square in the door, bent the body and crumpled the floor. Frame all twisted, glass everywhere, four scared boys just standing there. Running dirt roads, laughing out loud, young and wild, with the radio loud. Didn't think nothing could go wrong that night. Just a bunch of boys in Daddy's old truck. But life can turn in a second or two when you're driving faster than you ought to do. And every young man knows that feeling of dread when you tear up your daddy's old truck instead. Next day, Mama and Daddy came home. I sat there waiting there all alone. Daddy walked in and looked around, then said, "Son, where's my truck now?" I told him the truth with my head hanging low. Said, "Dad, I wrecked it down the road." He stood there quiet for a minute or two, then said, "Son, I just gotta ask you, are you alright?" was all he said. Not a word about the twisted steel instead. That's when I learned what love can be. A daddy's heart runs deeper than an old C10 Chevy.
Well, there you go, Daddy's old C10 right here on Pedal to the Metal, Motors and Music. This next song up is called "The Night I Became a Man in My C10. I'm going to leave it there and let you figure it out right here. We'll be right back on Pedal to the Metal, Motors and Music.
I was 17 with a young man's dream and a Chevy from my daddy's yard. Faded paint and a straight six hump, but that old truck ran real hard. Picked her up by the county line underneath that harvest moon. Windows down on a gravel road and a country radio tune. That was the night I became a man in my old C10. Two young hearts and a wild plan, running more on love than love. We didn't know what life would bring or the price of growing up, but everything changed forever in that old C10. Fall rolled in and the leaves turned red when she showed up at my door. Tears in her eyes, trembling hands, saying life was something more. My heart hit hard like a hammer drop as the truth came rolling in. Two scared kids on the front porch step and a brand new road began. That was the night I became a man in my old C10. Two young hearts and a wild plan, running more on love than love. We didn't know what life would bring or the price of growing up, but everything changed forever in that old C10. Small town church and a borrowed suit with a daddy watching me. Promises made with shaking hands about the man I try to be. Work long days and pray long nights till the years begin to roll. That same old truck in the driveway and a baby in my arms to hold. Sometimes life don't wait its turn. Sometimes love moves way too fast. But the road you take at 17 can become your life at last. That was the night I became a man in my old C10. Two young hearts in a wild plan, running more on faith than love. Now the kids are grown and gone, but we're still together, my friend. And that old summer night still lives in that old C10.
There you go. The night I became a man in my old C10. Ladies and gentlemen, for you guys that are finally off work, my friend, yeah, he is. Texas Rich is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Texas Rich, right here. That's a good idea because I forgot right now since he came on. Guys, it's car show season, man, whether we like it or not, and we all like it, okay? I know that for sure. And I have got the perfect idea for the car show goer and that somebody that has a display that they want to freshen up and make look good for their car shows. My buddy Texas Rich, man, he makes these phenomenal, they're called metal prints or metal show boards. And guys, I'm telling you what, man, these things are game changers for the car show industry, man. If you have a car or a truck or a motorcycle, or he'll make anything. He'll even make one about your horse. It doesn't matter. He makes these metal show boards, and they come in sizes by 11 by 14, 16 by 20, and 20 by 30. Now, if you want a metal show board, that only comes in a 20 by 30 size, but it's definitely worth the money, guaranteed. But he takes and he'll have you take a couple pictures and send them in to him, and he puts these show boards together, man. And I'm telling you what, they are amazing. They really are. This is the one of my truck, and I took it, and my truck was in issue number 5 of his magazine, C10 America magazine, and this is the article that was in the magazine. And I have more people stopping by now after I had this made and reading the story, then they walk around and check out my car, and they're even starting to judge my car at some of the shows. It's amazing what they are. They are absolutely impressive. They are just a game changer for you. I suggest that you get a hold of him, and his email is texasrich@c10americamagazine.com. That's texasrich@c10americamagazine.com. And I'm telling you what, he's in here right now. All you have to do is email him, once again, texasrich@c10americamagazine.com, and he'll tell you the pricing of them. He'll tell you what you need to exactly send him, and it's just phenomenal what these things will do for your display. So I suggest that you get one and that you make it a game-changing season for your car show display. All right, so let's see here. What's our next one? Now, I write a lot of music for you folks that are just coming into the show, and most of my music is about C10 trucks or cars or something. But I go other ways too. I do some country stuff. I've done some soul stuff. I did a Latin crossover album. And you can get all these songs and albums and stuff at jeffrichards327@gmail.com. Email me, and we'll talk about it. I'll call you back, and we'll talk, and you tell me what kind of music you're looking for, and I can custom make an album for you and email it to you. All you do is you pay me, and then I'll send it right to your email. You'll have it in 5 minutes. So we can take care of you and stuff. But I wrote a couple of different songs this weekend, and this one here kind of has to do with something with my son who's out on the streets in Denver. It was kind of made for him, and it's something that I hope happens to him one day, that he wakes up and realizes that there is something better for him than being addicted on drugs and living on the streets. And so anyway, this one here is called The Old Wooden Cross. We'll be right back here on Pedal to the Metal, Motors and Music.
Midnight walking down that empty highway, cold wind blowing through broken soul. Bottle in his hand, eyes full of darkness. Nothing left inside him but a hole. Tomorrow was a word he didn't believe in. He'd already planned his last goodbye, with the world spinning in a drugged-out haze. He kept wandering down that lonely line, headlights fading far behind his shadow. Rain started falling from the sky. Up ahead he saw an old forgotten building, just enough left standing to get by. Broken walls and splintered boards were leaning, dust and gravel scattered on the floor. He curled up in a corner for some shelter, too tired to wander anymore. But when the morning sun broke through the silence, something caught his weary eyes. A wooden cross was hanging in the doorway, standing strong against the sky. And in that quiet moment he heard a voice say, "My son, your life is far from lost." Mercy found him in the broken darkness at that old abandoned wooden cross. Then a light filled up that empty building, like the sunrise pouring through the air. He felt a hand reach down and touch his shoulder, and suddenly the weight was lifted there. Every chain that held his heart in bondage fell away like dust upon the ground. The poison in his veins was gone forever. A brand new life was turning all around. When the morning sun broke through the silence, something caught his weary eyes. A wooden cross was hanging in the doorway, standing strong against the sky. And in that quiet moment he heard a voice say, "My son, your life is far from lost." Mercy's waiting in the broken darkness at that old abandoned wooden cross. He called his mama with a shaking voice, said, "I found a road back home." Now every Sunday in a little white church he tells the truth of what he's known, that mercy walks the darkest highways where the lost and broken wander across. And sometimes heaven meets a sinner at a lonely wooden cross. When the morning sun breaks through the silence and hope begins to rise, he remembers that old doorway and the mercy in God's eyes. He tells the world the words he heard that morning, "My son, your life is far from lost," because a broken man found heaven at that old abandoned wooden cross.
That old abandoned wooden cross right there on Pedal to the Metal Motors and Music. You know, I I look at it this way. If you like music like I do, it depends on the mood that I'm in, and I'm sure that is with a lot of people. You know, what kind of music you'd like to listen to at that time. You know, there's sometimes when rock and roll is just too much. We don't want it. We don't want to hear it. We want something that's going to relax us. Maybe we're feeling down. Maybe we're feeling tired. Maybe we're feeling sleepy. And there's different musics all over the world, you know. And I happen to like country too, and that's what really I started writing was a lot of country songs at first, and I happen to be a big fan of Randy Travis. Randy Travis has got or had a really beautiful voice. It was really just a very unique voice, and it's tragedy that he suffered a stroke and stuff like that. And I thought, I need to pay kind of a tribute to Randy Travis and his life. And so I started doing a little research. And, Randy Travis, when he first started out as a young man, he was a rebel. He got into trouble. He got into jail. He was hooked up with drugs and stuff. And this lady heard him sing one time, and she kind of helped him out and got him on stage and got him going and stuff. And the rest is history. So this song right here is on the life of Randy Travis, and it's called "Forever and Ever, Amen."
Down in Marshville, Carolina, red dirt roads and a mill run down. A skinny kid with a stubborn streak, more fire in his heart than words he'd speak. His daddy said, boy, you sing that song, but the road ahead was rough and long. Honky-tonk lights and trouble too, a restless soul with nothing to lose. But somewhere in that Carolina night, a barroom stage held a little light. A deep young voice from a broken past, singing old country songs that were built to last. From small town bars to a neon sign that would someday read Randy Travis' name. Just a country boy the world would know, with a voice God gave and a long road to go. He ran wild through his teenage years, county lines and a trail of tears, jailhouse walls and a broken plan. Life can humble a wild young man. Then a woman heard that mountain sound, said, son, that voice could turn this world around. So she took a chance and changed his way, and put that young man on a stage. Somewhere Carolina night, a barroom stage held a little light. A deep young voice from a broken past, singing old country songs that were built to last. From small town bars to a neon sign that would someday read Randy Travis' name. Just a country boy the world would know, with a voice God gave and a long road to go. Then came songs the whole world knew, 3 wooden crosses telling the truth, digging up bones on the radio waves, forever and ever, amen, the promise he gave. That deep voice echoing all around, country music's true Nashville sound. From honky-tonk floors to the Opry stage, those songs would live through every age. Sometimes the road gets dark and steep before the Lord gives the dream you keep. But a voice like that was meant to rise from Carolina dust to Nashville skies. From the Opry lights to a million hearts, those country songs became an art. But life can turn like a sudden wind and test the soul of any man. One summer day that strong voice broke, a Nashville legend struck by stroke. And for a while the music slowed on that long and winding road. Yeah, somewhere in that Carolina night, a barroom stage held a little light. A deep young voice from a broken past, singing old country songs that were built to last. From honky-tonk floors to the Opry show, that Carolina boy let the whole world know. Even when the singing had to slow, the world still heard that country soul. Marshville wind still whispers his name a country voice that rose from pain. Sometimes God writes a different plan, but Randy's songs will live forever and ever, amen.
There you go, forever and ever, amen, right here on Pedal to the Metal, Motors and Music. Now we go get back into some car stuff. This one here, this is about the C10 pickups throughout the years. It starts in the 60s, finishes up in 87, which was the last year of the square body. And the name of the song is C10s Through the Years. We'll be right back here on Pedal to the Metal, Motors and Music.
1960, rolled off the line, fresh built steel and a brand new design. Straight edge body, sitting up proud, inline six humming, working man loud. Three on the tree, gravel roads call, from farm fields out to the edge of town. Didn't know then what it become, a legend born in American ground. From work boots to chrome and shine, that old truck started a lifelong line. It's a C10 ride through the years gone by, from the first clean lines to the square body style. Grease, grit, and American pride, still rolling strong on a steel-born drive. You can hear that rumble, feel that soul, from 60 steel to rock and roll. It ain't just wheels, it's a way of life. It's a C10 ride. 67 brought a brand new face, action line stance with a little more grace. Lower and longer, riding just right. Saturday cruising under neon lights. Disc brakes coming, power in hand. Small black thunder across the land. From back street runs to boulevard scenes, built for the rebels and the in-between. Every mile carved in time, burned in steel and gasoline lines. It's a C10 ride through the years gone by, from the first clean lines to the square body style. Grease, grit, and American pride, still rolling strong on a steel-born drive. You can hear that rumble, feel that soul, from 60 steel to rock and roll. It ain't just wheels, it's a way of life. It's a C10 ride. 73 in the shape turned bold, square body strength with a heart of gold. Wider stance in a tougher frame, Silverado badge in the rising flame. From Cheyenne trim to Scottsdale chrome, every driveway felt like home. Through the 80s run, it held its name till 87, close that frame. Now the years roll on, but the legend stays in rust and shine and back road days. You can change the badge, you can change the line, but you can't replace that C10 time. It's a C10 ride through the years gone by, from the first clean lines to the square
C10 through the years right here on pedal to the pedal to the metal, motors and music. Cousin Debbie, it's a gnat. And this little gnat is going, this one that flies around my computer screen here in a minute. He's tried to go up my nose already once, but we're going to get him. He is going to go down before the show's over. I'm hunting the widow gnats for sure. Anyway, the next song up, ladies and gentlemen, right here is called Born in 69. This is about the iconic Chevrolet 69 Camaro, man, who I am a big fan of right here. So this is Born in 69 right here on Pedal to the Metal, Motors and Music.
Detroit steel and a wicked ride. Chrome flash burning under streetlight beams. 69 Camaro chasing outlaw dreams. Turn that key, hear the headers crack. Feel that power slam you back. From a small block bar to a big block scream. That Camaro lives like a mean machine. Where the wild ones grow, there's a name stamped deep, Don Yanko. Yanko Camaro with a 427 heart, ripping through the street, tearing it apart. Sopo Camaro, built to kill, factory secret with a license to thrill. From the line to the stripe, you already know when that Camaro hits. It's go time, go. Hidden headlights cut through the dark. RS Camaro leaves its mark. From the strip to the street, no compromise. That Camaro's built to terrorize. Z01 Camaro, pure attack. Left in the front, never looking back. You don't tame it, you just hang on tight. That Camaro was born to fight. Yeah. Born in 69, Camaro runs the night, burning through the gears where the rebels bite. From the back street run to the county line, you don't drive that Camaro, it owns your mind. Yeah, that Camaro, yeah, born in 69, still tearing up time.
There you go. Born in 69 right here about the 69 Camaro. Well, we made a song about the Steel City Car Show, and that's the car show that I'm putting on. It's in that Steel City town in Pueblo, Colorado. And we'll be right back here after we listen to Steel City Car Show here on Pedal to the Metal, Motors and Music.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, welcome to the Steel City Car Show. Ooh, yeah. Hosted by Pedal to the Metal, Motors and Music. Trophies my pedal to the metal, set this caliber. Broadway Tavern and Grill, and Sunset Hot Rod and Custom. Come join Pedal to the Metal, Motors and Music today. Seppi's Caligress, bring in the flavor your way. Come shining bright in that Steel City town. First ever car show, we're laying rubber down. Hot rods and classics rolling through the gate. Lost soul cars rumbling, sounding mighty great. Low riders gleaming, rat rods full of soul. Engines singing loud as the good times roll. Cruising the Steel City, home in the sun. Pedal to the metal, yeah, the show's begun. Families and friends, everybody come see the finest rides rolling through the Steel City. Oh, yeah. May 31st, mark it on your calendar now. 9 in the morning, engines rumbling loud. 131 Broadway Avenue, the place to be, where the hot rods gather in the Steel City. Trophy shining bright when the judging is done. Best Dame and Crow and the votes are won. Friends and families cheering loud and proud as the fighters ride, stand out in the crowd. Cruising the Steel City, chrome in the sun. Pedal to the metal, families and friends, yeah, the show's begun. Cruising the Steel City, cruising the Steel City, hot rods, classics, engines running free. Pedal to the metal, in the Steel City. Oh, welcome to the Steel City Car Show. Welcome to the Steel City Car Show.
There you go, Steel City Car Show. The music program I use, no matter how I try to spell it, will not pronounce Pueblo right. So Pueblo's always been known as the Steel City, so that's why I put just the Steel City in there. But it is about the town of Pueblo, Colorado, where I grew up. All right, guys, this next song right here is, and welcome into the show, Mr. Tim Dudley and Mr. Rick Garbiso, a.k.a. Ted. Appreciate you guys. Ted's in Las Vegas, Nevada, and Tim Dudley's up in I think it's Indiana, right? Right, Tim? Up in the way up in the top up there. So anyway, if you guys are up around close to where Tim's at, and you're needing an Elvis impersonator or a tribute artist, as they say, you need to get a hold of Tim, because he does a fantastic job, man. And I wrote a song about him, and this is called, let's see here, Keeping the King Alive, right here. This is South Bend, South Bend, Indiana, right up next to Notre Dame. That's exactly right. So anyway, this one here is called Keeping the King Alive, right here. We'll be back on Pedal to the Metal, Motors and Music.
Raised with his mama at his grandma's side, in a little home full of love and pride. Old Elvis movies lighting up the screen, dreaming of the Memphis King. From the living room to a young boy's dream, rock and roll was in between. Kindergarten stage in a schoolhouse hall, little Tim standing proud and tall, lip sync singing to the King's old sound. Took second place, but the spark was found. Something in the music lit the flame, and Elvis Presley called his name. Years rolled on to 2003. A friend named DJ said, come with me. Signed Tim up for a karaoke night. He stepped on stage in the spotlight bright. When the last note rang across the crowd, people said, man, you should sing out loud. Oh, Tim Dudley keeps the king alive tonight. Blue suede rhythm under state lights. Every song from Memphis rings out strong. When Tim sings, the king lives on. From town to town, that sound still swings. Long live the music of the king. That same year down in Houston town, he saw Doug Church bring the house down. Met him backstage and shook his hand. Doug helped him understand how to carry that legacy on and keep the king inside a song. Grandma believed in the dream he chased, said, son, your voice deserves a place. In 2004, the first show came at the nursing home where she worked each day. Tim sang Elvis proud and strong, and the crowd was smiling all night long. The river road in every stage, faith has helped to guide the way. A humble heart and a voice to sing, giving thanks for every blessing. With a prayer before the show begins, Tim lets the music rise again. It ain't about fortune or a crown, just keeping that Memphis sound around. One voice rising clear and strong, and keep the king's own spirit rolling on. Tim Dudley keeps the king alive tonight. Blue suede rhythm under stage lights. Every cheer from the crowd will bring another echo of the king. And when that last note fills the hall, the king of rock still stands tall. So let that rock and roll still ring. Long live the music of the king.
There you go, right here. Long live the music, right here. Make sure you, if you're around that South Bend area and you need a Elvis tribute singer, make sure you get a hold of Tim Dudley right there. This next song up right here, and then we're getting ready to get into the second half of the show, is called Where the Prairie Meets the Sky. We'll be right back here on Pedal to the Metal, Motors and Music.
Out where the tall grass bends in the wind and the fence lines run for miles, there's a gravel road that time forgot and a porch with weathered smiles. A pickup parked beside the barn, dust dancing in the moonlit night, and the world feels a little closer to heaven when the stars come out so bright. Out where the prairie meets the sky, where the red sun slowly dies, you can hear the lonely meadowlarks as the daylight says goodbye. No city lights, no neon signs, just stars shining high. That's where a man can find his soul, where the prairie meets the sky. Granddad's hat still hangs on the wall by a nail beside the door. Stories echo through the wood of the days that came before. The wind still sings across the fields like it always used to do, and every mile of open land feels like something you knew. Out where the prairie meets the sky, where the red sun slowly dies, you can hear the lonely meadowlarks as the daylight says goodbye. No city lights, no neon signs, just stars shining high. That's where a man can find his soul, where the prairie meets the sky. There's an old dirt trail past the cottonwoods where the wagon wheels once rolled, where the cowboys rode the open range, chasing dreams and chasing gold. You can almost hear their voices in the wind that whispers by, still riding through forever, where the prairie meets the sky. Out where the prairie meets the sky, where the red sun slowly dies, you can hear the lonely meadowlarks as the daylight says goodbye. No city lights, no neon signs, just stars shining high. That's where a man can find his soul, where the prairie meets the sky. Some nights I sit beside a fire, watching embers fade to red, thinking about the roads I've traveled and the life I've always lived. And every dream I've ever carried still lives out there somewhere high, drifting like the prairie wind, where the prairie meets the sky. Maybe someday I'll ride that road till the world just fades away, but till that day I'll chase the sunset at the closing of the day. And out where the prairie meets the sky, where forever seems to lie, where the wind knows every secret and the hawks still fly on high. Heaven's just a piece of earth, and I know where it lies. It's right out there beyond the fields, where the prairie meets the sky.
Where the prairie meets the sky, right here on Pedal to the Metal. We got time for one more song, and then we're going to do our normal thing where we start the second half of the show. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we got a great friend of mine on, Danny Maass, Maass Media. This man has taken more fantastic pictures of monster trucks than most people will ever know. And I'll tell you one thing right now, he has an eye for any other kind of photography too. So it's going to be great talking to him. And we'll be right back here on Pedal to the Metal, Motors and Music. This next song up is called Black Shadow. And what this is kind of an Indian folklore song about a black shadow Mustang that roams the prairies. And the Indians try to catch it because it's such a great looking horse and stuff. But they say that it has fiery red eyes. And every time they try to rope it, the rope just goes through because it's a shadow. Right here on Pedal to the Metal, Motors and Music.
desert sand. Old stories pass from man to man. Around the fire when the night winds blow, they speak of a horse as black as coal. An old Indian legend riders know from many long years ago, of a stallion dark as the canyon shade, that no man's road has ever stayed. They called him the horse of the shadow, running the mesas alone, solid black in the moonlight, like a spirit made of stone, with red fiery eyes in the darkness, burning out on the plain. He leads the wild herd forever, and no rope can hold his rear. Many riders tried with a rope in hand, across the river and desert land. But when the loop went sailing low, the rope passed through him like a ghost. They see him run when the moon rides high, red fire burning in his eyes. The wild herd follows where he goes, through dusty trails and canyon roads. They call him the horse of the shadow, running the mesas alone, solid black in the moonlight, like a spirit made of stone, with the red fiery eyes in the darkness, burning out on the plain. He leads the wild herd forever, and no rope can hold his rein. Some say that horse will never die. He's run those lands since time gone by. The same black stallion through the years, still leading herds through dust and fear. Still the horse of the shadow, running the mesas tonight, red fire burning in darkness, guiding the herd by his light. A dream for every rider, but he'll never be their own. That black shadow stallion, forever running alone. So when the desert night grows still, and the coyotes cry beyond the hill, listen close through the wind's low moan. You might hear the shadow running on.
Ladies and gentlemen, start start your engines. You're listening to Pedal to the Metal Motors and Music, the show where horsepower, stories, and great music come together. From beautiful collector classics to fire-breathing race cars to the ground-shaking thunder of monster trucks. This is where the world of motors meets the power of music. So strap in tight, fire up, and grab your favorite cold drink, because a ride is about to begin. And now, here's your host, Roller.
Welcome to the second half of the show, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Got all the people in the beer garden out there, and you're having a good time, it looks like. The mezzanine section's raising heck, and all you folks in the regular section, glad to see you here, man. Glad to see you. All right, we're going to calm it down now just a little bit. We're going to keep it calm, keep it mellow. Danny Maass will be on here in just a minute. We're going to make that phone call, and we're going to be talking to Danny right here. He is a legendary photographer in the monster truck world. His name has really grown big since he started this as a young man, and he's going to tell his story. We're going to talk about his times at the shows, working for Toughest Truck Monster Truck Tour. He's also a tour guide at the Bigfoot shop. He works for the Toughest Monster Truck Tour, and man, I mean, it's just, and he works for, he also does photography for the Monster Blog, which is a great group of guys, man, that I absolutely consider all brothers, all of them, man, between Ross and Colby, Danny, everybody, man, everybody in that group is something special to me. I have spent a lot of time with them, and, it's just a great bunch of people, man. They're just a great bunch of people here, and we'll be calling Danny here in just a minute. But I just wanted to mention one more time that if you want anything for like t-shirts or stickers or anything like that, you can go to www.pedaltothemetalpodcast.com. Check out our new website, man. It is awesome. You can order music from there. You can fill out a form, and you can request to be on the show. I'll take a look at it. If I think the request is a good fit for the show, we'll put you on the show. We'll give you a show date, a show time, everything, man. We'll do the calling. We'll call you up, and we'll talk about your career, whatever you happen to do with the motorsports. And it doesn't have to be just necessarily monster trucks, guys. It can be classic cars. It can be hot rods. It can be like Danny being in the film photography business with the motorsports. You can talk about circle track racing, Desert Mint 500. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. If it has a big motor and it goes fast, and if it even has a little motor and it goes fast, we want to talk to you on Pedal to the Metal, Motors and Music. So we appreciate you guys all tuning in to the first portion of the show. That first portion of the show is just all the music that I have written. I write the lyrics, and I do the production, and then I put it into a program, and it creates the song. And I'm just floored by the way that some of the lyrics that I write come out as a song. It's amazing, and I'm glad that I stumbled across this. And I really didn't stumble across it. A friend of mine named Kevin Rudder. Kevin was the one that was a big help in getting me started on this. And Kevin's going to be one of the young guns of auctioneering on the show. So I look forward to that. Now, like I said, tonight is Danny Maass. And then on the 29th, we have J.R. Adams. He's from Bigfoot. He used to drive for Bigfoot a long time ago. And then April, man, April is filling up. We got the young guns of auctioneering. We've also got, let me just get in here and I'll tell you what we have here again. We got Mike Johnson, who's a hot rod builder. and we're going to talk to him about his time building hot rods and stuff like that. And then on the 5th, we got Scott Goodyear talking about the young guns. He's a good friend of mine, and Scott's going to be talking about these young gun auctioneers that he's mentored. And then we have a gentleman by the name of Tony Gianetta, and Tony is from Pueblo. He's going to be at the car show of mine, and Tony and I kind of. I used to know Tony's not immediate family, but they were close enough, and they were personal friends of our family. And I met Tony one time when he was a young man at one of the parties that we were at, and so our paths have crossed again. We're going to have him on there, and then on the 8th we got Chris Miller. Chris Miller is a young gun auctioneer. He's going to be on, and then we have legendary and motorsports announcer Dave Gross, and we're going to get with him and we're going to talk about his time in the motorsports business. Then we have Blake Sherman on, and Blake is going to be on the 12th, and he's one of the young gun auctioneers, but he also works for the big ones, the auction companies. He works in Dallas and all over, but I mean, it's not Meekum, it's Barrett Jackson. He works for Barrett Jackson, and he's just a young gun. He holds a record for the most expensive Cadillac sold. It's not as far as the old Cadillacs. This is a new Cadillac. It had really low miles on it. We're going to talk to him about that, and he set a record his first time behind the microphone. And then legendary monster truck man himself, Mr. Mike Welsh, will be on. Super Pete himself, great announcer, great show producer, and everything. Mike has done it all. Then Dr. Danger's going to be on. He's a stuntman extraordinaire. He's going to be on the show. We got Chad Lamb with the Young Gun Auctioneers. Wes Lamb, his brothers, on the 19th. Jeff Little from Sunrise Rod and Customs is on the 19th also. Then we have Kevin Rudder on the 22nd. And then a gentleman that's in the music business, Aaron Parker, and he goes by the name of Dead Bird. Dead Bird's going to be on the show on the 22nd. And then Trent Holsworth. In fact, Trent is either a new daddy tonight or he'll be a new daddy tomorrow morning. And we'll talk to him about the baby and all that, plus his time working for his father's company, Holsworth Auction Company. And, he'll take that over one day. And then we're probably going to just save that day and do some music unless I get somebody that wants to do something in April and doesn't want to go into May or something. And then we have Ethan McDowell. Ethan McDowell has an auction company, his family does, Pyramid Auto Auctions down in Pueblo. And Ethan's part of the Young Guns, and he'll be flying to the contest that night. And he said he should be there in time to be able to be on the air. But as you know, the airlines are running kind of sticky right now, so it's hard to figure it out. But it's I think it's close enough. Danny's probably ready. Let's go ahead and get this party started. Get this party started right here. We got the phones booting up right here. I forgot to charge it, but we got plenty of battery power in here to talk to Danny. Let's see here. Here we go. Danny said he's going to be sitting in the hot tub tonight, and we're both drinking Captain and Cokes tonight, and we are talking about, let's see if we got this going on here. I hope we do. It doesn't sound like, okay, here we go. We're going to be both drinking Captain and Cokes tonight in honor of Dan Runte. So we're going to do a toast to him, and we'll get that going.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, Big Day? What's going on, man?
Honestly, just about to crawl in this here hot tub.
That's what I told him. I said, he's getting ready to get into the hot tub. He's got his Captain and Cokes out. We're both drinking Captain and Coke in memory of our buddy Dan Runte. And you know what? We might as well go ahead right now and do a toast to Danny, and my buddy, and your buddy, and then we'll do one at the end of the show. So here's to Dan Runte. We miss you, brother. We're going to never let your memory go away. I promise you that. We're going to carry it on forever. So here's to you, Dan.
Absolutely.
But Danny, I'll tell you what, man. You have built a career in the monster truck business. And Hobo's on here tonight. What's up, Hobo? Hobo's in the house, man. Hell yeah. He says, hell yeah, Danny's in the house, man. You and Hobo, you spend a little time together, don't you?
Yeah, so I met Pablo when I was back in high school, I guess still. But he was doing a lot of BMX stuff, and back in the day, that was like my number one hobby aside from like RC cars and monster truck stuff.
Uh huh.
And come to find out, dude had a monster truck obsession too, and it just kind of worked out. So I guess it was probably 5 or 6 years ago now. Kind of tried Hobbo out as like a secondary backup announcer at Toughest, and now he's doing a lot of our morning media stuff. He's kind of Scott Keaton's sidekick to an extent,
There you go.
and kind of running around doing all the winter interviews and stuff like that. So Scott can hang back in the tunnel and relax and kick back and have a good time.
There you go, man. How Hobo and I met, and we've never met in person. We met through Facebook. I was looking on Facebook one night, and here's somebody selling a bedside off a Bigfoot truck, and I thought, okay, here's a fan that acquired this somehow, some way, and so I thought I'm going to just test this guy and see if he's real or not, if he knows anything about this, or if he's just a fan that happened to luck out and get a piece off of a Bigfoot truck. And man, I put some questions out there, and the dude just popped them back and popped answers back, and I was like, "Oh, dang, this man knows his stuff, man." And then we got to talking, and I've invited him on the show, but I know right now, you guys are traveling, and it's hard to get people on and stuff. But we're gonna get Hobo on the show too, man, and we're gonna talk to him about his career. But yeah, he got in there and made me proud, dude. I was like, damn, the man knows his stuff. So I was pretty cool. It really was. But I didn't end up buying the bedside, but hey, I hope he sold it and everything's good for him.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but that's yeah, he's pretty knowledgeable. He's pretty nerdy about stuff. So
Well, that's we all are, aren't we? I mean, that's just the way it
yes.
is. Let's see. Wayne Norby Jr. said, I was trying to listen to the show you did after you heard about Dan's passing, and I got 2 minutes into it and had to stop listening. Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. Hobble says he still has that bedside. So, yeah, Wayne, Dan Runty was very special to a lot of us, man, and he will be sadly missed. I'll guarantee you that right now. But let's talk about Danny. Let's do that. Danny, you started out as a young man and didn't really quite know what was going on in life, and then all of a sudden, and I'm going to lead you up to that. And now it's your turn to talk.
Yeah, so growing up as a young child, I was big into trains. That was my main thing.
Uh
So
huh.
as a kid, my grandma would watch me every basically Wednesday during the summer. She didn't drive or anything, so what we would do is walk up to the top of the street and get on the bus and take it downtown to the zoo. And we'd go ride the trains pretty much all day, every Wednesday, most Saturdays at the zoo in St. Louis. They have one of the coolest train systems out of pretty much any theme park or any of that stuff. And eventually, I started becoming interested in monster trucks. There's a guy that used to work with my dad, and he was big into off-roading, four-wheel drive stuff, monster truck stuff. And they basically convinced him, or he convinced my mom and dad to take me to a show in Hillsboro, Missouri. And that was kind of my first ever show. I want to say it was probably 98, 99, somewhere around there. I'm
Uh
not
huh.
100% sure. But it was a Lee Collins show. He used to do the fair show down there, and that was kind of the end of that. I got
Who?
super hooked on that stuff, and that was kind of the beginning of where it all went downhill,
Uh
I
huh.
guess, or uphill, whatever way you want to look
Yeah,
at
exactly.
it.
Where the addiction started, right? So
Yeah.
Danny, what was the trucks that were at the show? Can you remember?
So you had Guy Wood. He was down there in Bulldozer. David Morris was there in Equalizer. Jeff Cook was there in War Wagon. Then I want to say it was either Mark or Tim Hall driving Executioner. It actually might have been Tim. And Steve Macklin was in Nitro Fish.
Wow, that's a good show
So,
lineup, man.
yeah, quite a stacked lineup for a little county fair.
Guaranteed, man. That's really a good lineup for sure, man. So you started out and you were following the monster trucks, started getting into the monster trucks. But what started the photography of the monster trucks? Why? How did you start taking pictures and doing all that kind of stuff?
So my mom did a lot of like amateur photography, and every time we would go to a show, I believe she was going to like community college classes for that stuff at the time. And so she would take pictures and stuff like that at all the events. Well, and I'm like, hey, we're going to the second show tomorrow. Go take that stuff and go develop it, and we'll give it to the guys and everything during either pit party or autograph session, whatever.
Uh huh.
So from doing that, we actually became extremely, extremely good friends with Guy and Debbie Wood.
Uh huh.
Um, Guy pretty much adopted me
It's
and
not a bad thing.
took me under his wing, and Guy made sure that I had all the access in the world to do all the cool monster truck things. And so we would go to any show that Guy was at, basically within a 2 3 hour radius. And from there, mom kept doing all the picture stuff. And as she would upgrade her equipment, I would take her older cameras and, do really crappy photos at the shows and stuff as, like a 7-year-old kid. But
Right.
it was fun. And so I just kind of, as a way to continue being involved in monster trucks, like I have zero interest in doing anything mechanical.
Uh huh.
I am a person with zero patience, like absolutely no patience at all. So I'm not about to sit there and tear apart a planetary, put it back together, do anything motor related. Like none of that stuff interests me in any way, shape, or form. But doing photos of monster trucks, I always thought was pretty cool because I am capturing what made me love this stuff. And so I just kind of continued with that. And as time went on, Guy got out of everything. And by that point, Guy had got us pretty close with Jim Kohler and Jimmy Cretin. And from there, by that point, I was pretty close with Dan Runty. Dan, we had a lot of good times throughout the years
Yes.
later on in life. But as a kid, Dan always treated me very nice. He was always great to be around. Favorite Bigfoot driver by far. No offense to Larry or anything like that. But
You know.
Dan was definitely my favorite Bigfoot driver.
Yeah. Guaranteed.
Always. And so from kind of doing all that stuff, I continued doing photography and kept upgrading equipment. Mom would buy me a camera for Christmas or whatever. And so fast forward to when probably about 2005, 2006, when Ross started the monsterblog.com. Him and his dad had this great idea to do the photo of the week contest.
Uh huh.
That of which I would tell my mom, hey, you should submit some of your photos to this. It's pretty cool. So she learned how to do Photoshop and make everything a little bit nicer. I want to say it was Dave Van Artstalen kind of helped walk her through a lot of that stuff, kind of helped her with that. So she would submit photos, and then every once in a while I'd submit some of my photos, or I'd, accidentally go through and take a couple of her photos and use those for a couple weeks. And she pretty much dominated Ross's photo of the week contest.
Uh huh.
So that was pretty cool. She did photo of the month a couple times, photo of the year. I got a bunch of photo of the week and photo of the month wins, stuff like that throughout the years. And once I finally graduated high school, Ross pretty much hit me up. Doug Charles had did a show down at his lodge, and Ross had to announce that show. So he actually had Little John Zimmer shoot video at that show for TMB TV. And that was my first official gig shooting any type of photo stuff for the monsterblog.com.
Wow.
And so that was kind of fun. It was a really good lineup. You had like Kevin Kuzala down there,
Uh-huh.
John Zimmer. Who else was there? Doug Charles was pretty much running the show. I want to say Matt Plecker was there. Roger Gallagher. So that's the first time I ever met Roger. Derek Hansen, that was like one of his first ever shows that he did. So that was kind of a really cool intro to stuff. It was just a very unique venue. It was just kind of a little, almost pulling track sized arena that was carved into a literal hillside.
Uh-huh.
Granted, it was for like maybe 10 people, but it was a pretty cool experience. And like I didn't know what I was doing shooting Ross's camera because he used to be a Nikon guy. I was always a Canon person, so I didn't know how to use this stuff. He had flashes. I never used flashes, so
Uh-huh.
most of the photos were kind of junky, but I eventually ended up converting him to Canon guy, so that worked out pretty well.
Brought him to the Canon side of life, huh?
Yeah, so that was kind of my first official thing that I ever really did within the industry in any type of fashion of being signed in for anything or anything like that. And more so just a sense of, yeah, Kohler signed me in, go hang out in the pits or whatever, and hang out with those guys for the weekend, and then now I have photo access or whatever. So that was kind of my first official introduction to anything,
Right.
and just kind of spiraled from there.
You know, being down there on the floor or having that kind of access at these shows, I mean, some of the photos you've taken, Danny, are just amazing. I mean, I'm just amazed at them, and it's all because of the access that you can get to and the places that you can get to and stuff like that. But before we go any farther with that, I want to talk about joining up with Ross and everybody from the Monster Blog. I've had a chance not to work with everybody, but I had a chance to work with you, of course, and Colby and Ross and stuff. And man, the Monster Blog is just an amazing, amazing group of guys that have nothing but a passion for monster trucks. And I'm telling you what, if you want to know stuff, you guys from the Monster Blog have got the information down, man.
Yeah, the monsterblog.com. We know monster trucks.
Guaranteed.
So yeah, the whole thing with Ross is like he grew up loving this stuff, and he had pretty much the right outlets to do everything and make it right.
Uh huh.
There's been a lot of people doing stuff throughout the years. I mean, you had Eric Stern, who is the greatest of all time monster truck photographer, who created monstertruckracing.com. He did everything with Truck World Online, pretty much fueled my entire passion for monster trucks when I was a kid. Once we finally had internet and all that stuff, I would just spend hours looking at Truck World Online. He actually put me on there from the Springfield, Missouri Monster Truck Challenge show with Guy's son Travis in front of Tropical Thunder, which is my favorite truck of all time.
Uh huh.
After Guy basically rolled like every single show 2 or 3 times each show that entire weekend. So it was kind of cool. That was my first like, man, this is pretty sweet. Like, I guess people think I'm, cool or whatever. And so kind of from there, Ross really took what Eric had, started with monster truck racing and documenting all the, trucks and
Right.
putting everything together where it was easily researchable. I mean, you had people like Dennis Taft with Monster Truck Photo Album, who is now like completely abandoned all that stuff. So years and years of archive stuff just down the drain,
Oh,
missing,
that's sad.
gone.
That's sad.
He just let it go, and it's all gone now. So Ross documenting and archiving all the stuff that his parents would do out west, and he would do out east and in the Midwest. And there's just so much. We did our big 20th anniversary last year of the Monster Blog, so I
Uh
was a part of it since about 2011. So I missed the first 6 years of the Monster Blog.
huh.
But there was so much that Ross and his parents did, and all the stuff that got documented, all the trucks captured throughout the years, whether it was photos or video. There's really not much of an archive out there like it these days. Um, and Ross has been, with the International Monster Truck Hall of Fame since day one.
Right.
And, he's been involved with basically doing everyone's photo and video collection. Same for Colby and same for Chris Parrish. They're documenting and capturing, digitizing all this stuff. So the archive of monster truck history is very much in good hands with everyone at monsterblog.com.
Right.
All that stuff is permanently documented. It's never going anywhere. And Ross did so much new things, especially with like TMB TV. Nobody had ever did anything like that. And it was bringing all the attention to all the independent shows that needed the attention and deserved the attention, but well, the Monster Jam. So you're not getting multiple angles, you're not getting interviews, you're not getting hosting, you're not getting any of that stuff. You're just getting random clips that maybe would get uploaded to, Jason White's website with Midwest Monsters. Jason had all kinds of really cool content too, but it was nobody had ever did anything like what Ross envisioned with TMB TV.
Right.
So being able to bring that to life, having Colby hand the camera, Ross finally eventually switching over from doing photos to doing a lot of video stuff. Chris Parrish switching over from photos to video. Then that kind of put me in position to do basically all the lead photography for the Master Blog. I mean, you got guys like Matt Eisen who, contributed and stuff like that. But Matt was pretty limited to the shows that he could do down in Louisiana and Texas and stuff like that, where I was traveling around to all the shows with Ross and Colby and Parrish and all those guys.
Right.
So there was just a lot of that being documented that it's just a lot of really cool history throughout the years that probably would have never seen the light of day. And some of the promoters that are out here doing pretty big things now, with up with Monster Truck Tour or whichever, they weren't getting the attention that needed to be done. And people like Brian Manson would get a hold of Ross and, hey, we'd like to have you come to this show and do this and do that. And next thing, pretty much all of us were on staff or were on staff with Toughest at some point. And we're all getting to basically live out the dream and, work for the people that, really inspire us and have the same values as us whenever it comes to monster truck entertainment and just basically living out the childhood dream and doing shows that we loved and aspects of shows that we loved as a kid.
Guaranteed. Well, when I was doing Monster Truck Radio, man, I really, really was getting into it. It was a lot of fun and stuff like that. And the Monster Mayhem board was on there, to watching, and everybody was watching, and it was starting to do okay, but the radio station, I was doing two different shows at that time. I was doing Rollers Rockin' Country, and then I was doing Monster Truck Radio. And they come to me one day and they said, "Hey, we're gonna have to shut the doors, man, because we can't get any sponsorship. We can't do any of this, and you have two great shows, and I want to know what you're gonna do with them." And I said, I guess I'm just going to have to let him go. I don't know what to do, And I was talking to Mrs. Roller one night, and she goes, "Well, what's that friend of yours named, that blog guy?" And I said, "What do you mean, the blog guy?" And she's like, because I was surprised she even knew what blog guy was, And she said, and I said, "You mean Ross?" She goes, "Yeah." She says, "Why don't you let him take over your show and do it?" She said, he knows a lot about that stuff, right? And I said, "More than I'll ever know, guaranteed." And what you got? He did, and you helped him, didn't you, with Monster Truck Radio?
No, I was like I told you the other day. I am not like a podcast person. I don't listen to podcasts. Like I don't even like watch movies or any of that stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
I just like to chill in my free time and stuff, and I like silence. Silence is cool.
Right.
So whenever you hit me up, I was like, man, I said I would never do a podcast.
Right.
Roller, I can't turn Roller down. So
well, thank you.
So yeah, like I listened to a handful of Ross and yours Monster Truck Radio stuff back in the day.
Right.
I listened to the Scott Douglas one that he did with Guy and Debbie.
Awesome.
And
that was awesome.
I listened. Yeah, that was a good one. And the only other one I ever listened to was Kyle Doyle's that he did with Eric Stern.
Uh-huh.
And that's pretty much it. So you're in an exclusive club now.
Well, I'll tell you what, and then of course I turned it all over to him. I said, "This is yours. This is yours now. You do with what you want with it." And he did. I think he ran for a year, maybe two. I don't know. But anyway,
yeah.
I think it wasn't a whole long time, but I mean, he brought in some fantastic interviews because, number one, being with the Monster Blog, you guys had connections to every single buddy there was, man, that drove a monster truck, and it was easy for him to get content. It really was,
Yeah, I want to say it was Chris Parrish that helped Ross.
A lot.
I
think it might have been Chris. I think you might be right. I think it might have been Chris that helped him on the show.
Yeah, Chris is a really good personality whenever it comes to interviews or anything like that. So him and Ross vibed pretty well with that. And, Parrish had a lot of connections with people back in the day that Ross didn't really have connections with that were within Monster Jam and stuff like that because he was doing a lot of the track crew help. And so that kind of brought a lot of new faces into it that Ross didn't really, do, since Ross was more on the independent side of stuff, where Parrish was doing some company stuff at the time. So it all kind of jived together and worked out pretty well, I think.
Right. Well, and you guys surrounded yourselves with good people. I mean, the number one guy that I can think of is Colby Marshall, man. Colby is, I guess the correct term is a videographer. Is that correct?
Yeah, Colby is a videographer. But honestly, nowadays, in addition to like Colby doing a lot of the video stuff, he does with Toughest Monster Tour. He's been on with them since probably 2018, 2019-ish, I'd say.
Uh-huh.
I've been doing stuff with Dave and Kelly with Toughest since an official standpoint, probably like 2015 or so. But Colby does pretty much all the ribbon board graphics for us now. He'll do a lot of the commercial spots, like cutting all the clips together, and then Dave does all the final cutting. Um, then Colby will go through and we'll do all the big video board graphics and stuff like that. And the
Uh-huh.
shows that Kelly's husband Dave, who does a lot of audio video stuff that he can't get to, Colby takes control and is basically the manager. He does all the spotlight controls, hearing intros and calls intros, and so Colby is really kind of multiplied himself into a multifaceted person that can take pretty much any role whenever it comes to like any type of production during any show.
Right.
And when Colby really took over doing our ribbon board graphics and everything else, that's when our shows kind of went to a whole next level of just overall quality whenever it comes to looks and everything. They're not honestly that far off of anything that Bell does. Some of the stuff that we do, I think, looks a lot nicer. It's a lot brighter. It's not as drawn out. It's just quick to the point, and it draws your attention in. And throughout the show, everything blends in nice, and it's just an overall a really nice looking production.
Right. Well, I mean, he was always a craftsman at what he did. I mean that for sure. He took pride in everything he did, as all you guys do, you know. And that's what was the cool thing about being with the Monster Blog or TMB TV and stuff. It was always a good time, and you knew you were going to get some quality footage. I know there's a few footages of Roller and doing stupid stuff that Ross has. I don't know if I could ever get a copy of that stuff, but yeah, we've had some good times together for sure, man. I promise you that.
Oh yeah, it's been a pretty fun run. Like I said, last year was kind of TMB's 20th anniversary, and we had Tim Jones, who was like the modern day Dennis Anderson, basically.
Right.
We had him run a full TMB 20th anniversary body in Miami, Oklahoma for John Darnell with Matt Motorsports last year.
Uh huh.
And it basically featured the entire photo archive from Ross's dad, and myself, some stuff that Parrish did, basically all up and down the side of the entire truck. We had a very talented young man who's doing a lot. He's actually working Jamie Gardner full time now. But he was with a couple different wrap companies. He helped out designing Bad Company and stuff like that. His name is Nathan Hills. We actually got with Nathan. He does a ton of the Beam NG Monster Truck Simulator stuff. He builds like the most badass models for that stuff. The truck's like absolutely as realistic as possible.
Uh-huh.
And so we hit Nathan up, and we started off with the crew shirt. We had him do our TMB 20 crew shirt, and then we're like, oh, hey, by the way, do you want to design a truck for us? We're going to run it for a one-off event. So Nathan pretty much nailed exactly what Ross and I wanted for the truck. It was like a film roll kind of going down the side, like all negatives and stuff like that, but it was green and black instead of being the brown and black like a negative. And it was like all of our favorite shots, one shot from every single year. So we had 20 different frames basically going up and down the entire side of the truck. And Tim somehow managed to make that body last basically 1.5 shows, which is amazing considering that typically doesn't even make it out of one-hit wheelie contest.
Right.
So it was super cool seeing that. Tim, honestly, he was so close to getting the King of Miami championship too. So the fact that Tim was successful as what he was and making the truck last and making us look good and legitimately almost winning the whole thing, Nathan got to be there for it. Ross actually had every TMB member that could possibly make it there on hand. So there was like 20 of us there with all the family and everything. So it was a pretty cool event. That one sucked for me because it was also the 50th anniversary open house for Bigfoot. So I was having to drive back and forth from Miami, Oklahoma, back and forth to the Pacific, which is like a 5-hour drive, back and forth each night. So that wasn't much fun, but it was cool because I got to watch Dan drive one more time, and then I got to watch them go out and tear up our truck. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, and it's such a pride for you guys, as hard as you worked, to see that truck out on the track with all the TMB stuff and all that. You know, I mean, that's That's pretty cool, man. I mean, that's pride right there.
Yeah, and like Colby and I were actually at Tim Jones's first ever show that he did. It was for Justin's Story at JS Productions at the Washington, Missouri Town and Country Fair back in like 2014.
Uh huh.
He had just bought the Extreme Whiplash truck from, I guess it was Berkshire who had it. So he bought that truck and kind of renovated it a little bit. Had a just gunmetal gray OBS forward body on it. And Tim didn't do much back then. Still went out and tried to put on a show, but he wasn't the madman that he became. So that was kind of cool having that whole aspect of stuff kind of come about.
Now,
And
go ahead.
he was open for it. We
Well,
kind of asked him like, "Hey man, would you be interested in running a body?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "All right, cool."
where's the body now? Where's it? Who has it?
Pretty much everybody that was a TMB member has a chunk of the body. So Ross has the entire driver's side plus the tailgate.
Uh huh.
Tailgate had everybody's name on it. So it's like Ross and Regina Bona, it's themonsterblog.com. And then it had, his parents, and then me and my wife, Colby and his wife, Chris and his wife, and then pretty much everybody else that was ever a special contributor and stuff like that on it.
Right.
And so that's kind of a big piece of, Ross's life there. And then, you can't pass up the entire body side that's got like all yours and your dad's photos on it.
Right.
And then I ended up with a good chunk of the passenger side that's got a lot of my stuff on it.
Well,
So that's pretty cool.
what do you do? Where did you display it at? Where do you have it displayed?
Man, I have so many body panels sitting in the garage that still need to be hung up.
Right.
So for my wedding gift from Guy Wood, I'm actually getting like the entire Tropical Thunder body side,
Oh my
which
God.
is a one of one. So right now we got the tailgate or the bedside down, and then some point whenever I'm through, we're going to go cut up the cab because it's an old one-piece GTS cab. So you got to cut the roof panel off, and each door is separate,
Yeah.
and then cut up the front fender on it. So that's going to be the main piece on the wall. But the other side of the garage is going to be the whole TMB body. And then I've got like 2 or 3 Dan panels that I collected throughout the years from being at Bigfoot and stuff. So I got some of that stuff hanging up too, and that's obviously not going to go anywhere. But some of the other stuff's going to come down. Like I don't need a great bigger panel on the wall. That door is going to come down. I don't need that. So
Right. Right.
I got a lot. I got a lot cooler pieces that actually mean a lot to me that really need to be up there. So
Right.
once I get done and get home from Grand Forks this weekend, I just got a whole laundry list of stuff I got to do. Clean up all my monster truck toys that I've accumulated first quarter, and all that stuff like that I've just been kind of setting off to the side when I come home for a day or two and get back
Uh-huh.
on the road. But the garage is on the list of stuff to get cleaned up and get ready.
Is your shop big enough to house quite a bit?
No, it's just like a little 2-car garage on our house, but it's the way it's laid out. You can get enough stuff on it where it's not like overly cluttered. I feel like, but
Right.
it's gonna look pretty good once I get it all placed on there and get the complete body sides and stuff up. It's gonna be, I think, pretty clean looking. So
Well, good, man. That's great. You're around it all the time, but if you ever hear, I don't know who bought it, but I need the cab side from the Microsoft Xbox truck. I have the
oh
bedside that
man,
Harkey drove, and
uh-huh.
I have the bedside. He autographed it for me and everything, and I would love to get the cab. That's one of my bucket lists if I can find that. Somebody bought it. I had called Trent and asked if it was for sale, and he said somebody had just bought. I just missed it, like maybe a month or something like that, but. I just really would like to get that and maybe the front fender or something if you ever find out where that went.
Yeah, I don't know for sure. I know one of the body sides is probably the driver's side. I think that's the side actually. It's the opposite side of what you got, but they actually had one entire body side hanging up in the shop
Uh huh.
whenever I first kind of started working there. And I remember I was up there on a Saturday by myself, and we had a tripper come through. And he's like, "Man, I got an empty trailer. How much you guys want for that whole body side up there?" And I'm like, "Oh man, let me call friends." So they worked out a deal. So then I'm like standing on a ladder trying to get down an entire old school GTS body by myself.
Right.
That's all bolted together. And I'm like, man, this is not a good time. So that guy ended up with the entire body side from whatever the opposite side of what you have is. I
Uh-huh.
know that by the point that I had started working there, most of the really cool panels that we had throughout the year, they had all kind of really disappeared, and it was into more so the late era, like Super Duty bodies and stuff like that, the Bicor era,
Uh-huh.
the early Summit stuff. So a lot of like the early 2000s stuff that, was doing the Hardy stuff or like early dance stuff whenever you finally, hopped in and started doing some of the bigger shows and stuff like that outside of, just jamborees and doing the bigger arena shows outside of Beckley stuff. A lot of that was kind of gone by that point. They had like random pieces here or there, and that was kind of like one of my favorite things to do was going through and decorating the entire showroom with like used body panels and stuff. So that was like one of my first projects I did when I started it. Like, wanted to look cool. Like, man, we got all this cool stuff sitting out back. It's all nasty and dirty.
Right.
Let's go clean this up and let's hang it up and try to sell some of this stuff or at least showcase it.
Sure.
So once we like during the summer, we had people come through left to the right, and it was just a lot of going out back and grabbing another panel, cleaning it, drilling some holes, and hanging it back up.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you what, the reason why I ask you is because you're around there all the time. And if you ever do hear of anybody and they're wanting to sell it, man, I would be very interested in that portion. Then I would have the complete side, and it would be because that was another one that was I just have so many memories of is Harkey. And
Oh yeah.
I always tell the story about Harkey. We were in Utah, and we were running at the Puck, and we got done with the Puck, and we went to dinner, and like all of us, we like to sit around and have a beer or two or a drink or something and talk and have a good time. And so we talked to the motel manager into letting us go into where they had breakfast in the morning, and
Mhm.
he let us go in there, and we were sitting there drinking and stuff, and Harkey goes, "Hey man, my room's clear on the," and which it was. He says clear on the other end of the building. Can I just see your key and use your restroom? I said sure. So I give him my key, and throughout the night, that happened a couple times, and well, at the end of the night, we said goodbye and talk to you later, and it was Saturday night, and I go into the room and I flip on the light, and there's no light. And I was like, well, what the heck? So I go into the bathroom and I flip on the bathroom light. There's no light. So I go over and I stumble my way over to the table where the light is, and I try to flip it. There's no light. So I stumble my way over to the phone and I pick up the phone and I said, "Hey, this is room such and such. Something's wrong with the electricity in my room, and are you having problems?" And the guy goes, "No, we don't have any problem." I said, "Well, there's something wrong with this room." I said, "You need to come down here and see if you can fix it." And so the guy comes down and he has a flashlight, and I walked in and I said, "See," and I flipped the light switch and nothing. He's like, "Wow, that's weird." So he's in there walking around and he goes, "Mr. Richards," he said, "come over here for a second." And I said, "Okay." And he goes, "I think I found your problem." And I said, "What's that?" And he goes and he shines the light on the other bed, and there's a towel laid out on the bed, and every light bulb in the room had been taken out of its socket, and Harkey put them on the bed. There was no bulbs in anything, man. And it was just a classic Harkey trick. And I fell for it hard. And he was laughing the next morning. And I never did.
Mhm.
I never could get him back, man. But it was just, it was a story that I'll remember from him forever.
Yeah, I've heard my fair share of Dave Frank stories from either Trent or Dan or Rodney, all those guys back in the day. Dave was before my time with being involved with either Bigfoot or monster
Sure.
trucks or any of that stuff. But I always thought the Xbox body was sweet, and when he had all the other bodies that he kind of ran throughout the years, whether it was the Medusa body before she started coming in and kind of running some of that stuff. So a lot of those bodies throughout the year were all pretty sweet, and there's I guess Dave did a lot of I guess did he do Danny's early stuff?
Did he what? I'm
Or
sorry.
did he do a lot of like Torgerson's early stuff? I think or
He
was
did.
it?
When Stanley was promoting and stuff,
Yeah.
he was running Snakebite, and him and Dan, they did. We used to do that 4 day show here in Denver, and
Mhm.
they'd jump over each other, and it was always a good show when them two were there. Yeah, that's where I first remember him was with Snakebite.
Yeah.
So he's just he was just a good man, and you know, no longer with us either. So that's another thing. But yeah, that bedside was the backboard for Monster Truck Radio. When I took it here from the studio to the house. In fact, it's still behind this backdrop on the wall. I have it hung up. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's still there, and you know, I won't take it down until I find that other those bed pieces if I ever do, and then I'll have to figure out a place to put it. And but I will put it somewhere because that was uh, that was a wild weekend in Tucson when you know, we had a lot of things happen, and he was his debut of that truck. It was cool, and then he rolled it and stuff like that. You know, so it Tucson has a memory for me, and I'd like to find that piece for sure.
Yeah, there's a Facebook group now that a lot of people post like their collections and stuff like that.
Uh huh.
There's a lot of like the really hardcore collectors of acquired goods and pieces throughout the years. So
What's
I
the
figure
what's the name of that of it?
it's Monster Truck fiberglass collecting and some trades and collecting or something like that. I'd have to go look it up and see if I can find anything on there, but I'll have to send you a link for it.
Well, I appreciate
And
it, man. Thank you so much. Because I
yeah.
would be interested in trying to get, like, Brad Keller was on Sunday, and
Hmm.
I have the original identity theft body in my shop, and
Oh, that's awesome.
Brad was the first driver to drive identity theft. In fact,
Hmm.
it's the body that Feld said we have to remove it, take it off the truck, and put in the trailer and lock it up, and don't let anybody see it. You know, it was that
Oh
close.
yeah.
It was that close to being Gravedigger, and so I told Brad, I said, if anybody deserves that, it's you because you debuted that truck. I have the full hood, and then I have the whole complete driver's side. And I said, if you can figure out a way, in fact, he texted me today, and I said, if you can figure out a way to get it picked up and shipped and pay for the shipping and all that, I'll give you the body. And he was, in fact, he did text me today, and he says, I'm working on it still, man. I haven't given up. I want that body, and it needs to go to him, you know. I mean, because I
Oh
bought it
yeah.
for I bought it from Bill and Lorna, and
Hmm.
you know, it took a while to get it to me. In fact, the twins, they brought it to me, and one of them said, I can't remember which one it was, but he said, "Man, we almost had to use your hood at a show," and I was like, "I'm glad you didn't, man. I would have been so upset, you know, if that would have been the case." But anyway, I do have it, and because at first I just promised half the hood to Brad. I
Yeah.
said, "You can have half of it because I want to put it up on my shop wall." And he said, I told him the other night, I said, Brad, I'm just never going to get around to doing that because I got a 66 that I got to cut in half, and then I got to find two wheels to stick in them, and then I got to mount them on the wall. I don't have that kind of time, man. I just don't have it. So I
Yeah.
might as well go to somebody that'll take care of it and appreciate it, you know.
I remember seeing the pictures of that thing before it debuted. I guess it was what, Lake Charles, I think.
It was Lake Charles,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
was scary.
It was cool. Yeah.
It was really scary how close it was. In fact, when I pulled around the corner from the hotel coming into the building, they had just pulled it inside, and I was like, "Oh my god,
Oh yeah.
that is so." And then somebody was driving through the parking lot. This family, you know how the families all hang out at the shows and all that
Oh yeah.
before, and they were looking, and then they were like, "Is that Gravedigger in there?" And I said, "I have no idea what you're talking about." I said, "I'm just new. I don't know even know
Mhm.
who Gravedigger is." And they were like,
Yeah,
"Oh, that's great. That's
what's the grave
Gravedigger.
digger?
Yeah, that's Gravedigger for sure." And I was like, "Okay, those people over there, you need to go talk to them. They own the truck, and they can tell you if it's a Gravedigger or not. I wouldn't be able to tell you. I don't know. Of course, I knew, but I'm not going to be the one that said no, it's not. You know, but
I don't know. I can't read. It just says identity theft on the side. That doesn't sound like grave digger to me.
yeah,
What's
exactly.
grave? What's it supposed to look like? You know?
Yeah, exactly. And then I always tell, there are people like, Grave, you're going to be here. And I'm like, who's Gravedigger? What is that truck? I don't, is that a good truck? And you get these little kids like, it's the best truck out there, and it's just like,
Man,
whatever, man. It's all good. It's a good
I'll
truck.
tell
Don't get
you.
me wrong.
I'll tell you what. Whenever Ross had those like 2011 jerseys, the crew shirts made up that Sealskins did.
Uh-huh.
And they were black and they had green flames coming up from the bottom of them.
Uh-huh.
It never failed that at every show during pit party, when we'd be walking around, somebody'd come up, "Is Gravedigger here? Is Gravedigger here?" And the one thing that we learned from Liz Plecker was to always tell him, "Nope, he didn't qualify."
She was
And
a great lady, man. She is a great lady.
yeah, Mac and Liz were like two of the other ones that always would like babysit me back in the day because they always had Extreme Team down at the Hillsborough show. So whenever we'd go down there, we became pretty good friends with Mac and Liz too.
Uh-huh.
And Liz would just like babysit me at the show and like, "Hey, you want to go for a ride in the truck?" And then I'd just hang out with Mac all day in the truck. So
Right. Yeah.
it was always fun. I miss those guys a lot.
Yeah, me too. That I was had started doing, let's see, what was it? And I called Liz one. Oh, it was Monster Truck Radio when I started doing it again. And I said, "Hey, I said I need a sponsor." And she goes, "Well, I don't know if they'll sponsor you, but I can get you some materials from them if you mention their name." And I said, "I'd be more than happy to." And it was all that oil company that they had, Bars Leak.
Oh yeah.
And this truck pulled up in my driveway. It was a semi truck. And the guy goes, "I got some stuff for Jeff Richards here." And I said, "Okay, what do you have?" He says, "There's quite a bit." And he unloaded it all. And I had like a case of, a big case of T-shirts. There was probably 500 T-shirts in there. I had oil. I had all the different supplements they made. I mean, I was giving stuff to my dad. I was like, "Here, you need this at the car lot because they say this stuff's really good. Put it in the," because I couldn't give it away, man. I mean, it was just over. There was too much of it, but it was pretty funny, man. I enjoyed them, and Liz and Mac, they're just good people. They really are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They were some of my favorites, especially whenever I got later involved in it, because Mac did a lot of the stuff that I was still doing, especially whenever I first started doing Monster Truck Throwdown stuff for Elliot.
Uh-huh.
Mac was always running up in Michigan and stuff for Larry Hatt and those guys. So whenever Mac would have an off weekend, then he would go run for Elliot or whatever. So once I finally got involved in it, it was cool being a little older and actually getting to go hang out with Mac and Liz and spend time with them, and that was always fun. So,
and they put on a good show. They did.
Yeah.
Mac was old school. He believed in making the truck look nice for pit parties and stuff like that. And it was a very dependable truck. It was a nice truck, and of course, Liz was right there with him, and it was a great husband and wife team, is what it was.
absolutely.
Guaranteed, very much. Well, Danny, I tell you what, let's take a break for a second here,
right.
and we'll go ahead and play your song and let them hear that. And what did you think of your song?
Hey, it was pretty cool. I was listening to it on the way home from, I guess it was Lafayette,
Uh-huh.
because I left overnight because we've been doing a lot of like early afternoon shows now,
Uh-huh.
which have honestly been super nice for staff morale and all that stuff. Just basically kind of getting to be done with the show, still sleep in a little bit in the morning, get done, be loaded up by 7 o'clock, and if we want to stay we can, or just get on the road and head home.
Uh-huh.
So I'm pretty sure you'd sent it over like right before Lafayette weekend, so I popped it on the way home. Had a nice little 8-hour drive overnight home, but it was cool, man. It's pretty crazy what technology can do today.
It is, isn't it? It really is. I mean, what takes me a couple hours to write after I get your bio,
Yep.
they make a song in 60 seconds.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm in this algorithm with them now, and it knows what I want when I make a country song. It knows what I want when I do a rock song. I mean, it's just totally amazing. So we'll go ahead and do that, and then when we get back, we'll talk about life at Bigfoot, and we'll finish the night with that. How's that sound?
Absolutely. Sounds good, Roller.
All right, the mic's going to be on. It'll be hot, so I can't turn it off, or they won't be able to hear the music. So we'll be right back here, guys. This song is called "Through the Lens of Thunder." We'll be right back here on Pedal to the Metal, Motors and Music.
Born in autumn, Missouri, 1993, where the engines roar. A young kid dreaming of something more. Saturday nights when the stadium lights shook the ground with thunder and steel in the fight. Back when the monster trucks rolled through town, big tires shaking that Missouri ground. A friend told his dad, "You gotta take this kid." One night in the stands and the spark was lit. The roar of the engines, the smell of the fuel, the kind of power that makes a lifetime rule. One ride in a truck when the show was done, and a lifelong passion had begun. Through the lands of thunder, chasing the roar, living the dream he was searching for. From the pits to the lights where the big tires roll, monster truck fire burning in his soul. Through the lands of thunder, engines scream. From a kid in the crowd to the heart of the scene. Every mile, every photo on the road, Danny chasing the monster road. His mom and cameras and a photographer's eye. 2-day shows and the trucks flying high. Late night prints from the photos he'd take, so drivers could see every jump and every break. Morning pit parties with pictures in hand, meeting the heroes he watched from the stands. Those early days lit the spark inside, a young kid standing trackside. Online pages where the monster fans would go, sharing the photos from every show. Monster mayhem on the message boards, hardcore fans trading the stories and roars, sending in shots from the lens he'd hold, waiting to see which photo was gold. Then monster blood called and opened the door. Now he's trackside like never before. Working the shows where the engines scream, still chasing that childhood dream. Cameras rolling when the giants fly, freezing thunder as they climb the sky. From the roar of the crowd to the flying clay, working with the legends every day. Bigfoot power and the monster road, Danny living the life he chose. Through the lands of thunder, chasing the roar, living the dream he was searching for. From the pits to the lights where the big tires roll, monster truck fire burning in his soul. Through the lands of thunder, engines scream. From a kid in the crowd to the heart of the scene. Every mile, every story told, Danny Maass chasing the monster road.
There you go, guys. That's Through the Lens of Thunder right here. All about Danny Maass in the house. So, Danny, what is your favorite photo that you've taken in your career so far?
Oh man, it's been some really cool stuff. I mean, with toughest, the amount of air that we are putting trucks, you know, underneath in this arena is just insane. But I've become so accustomed to that. Like none of that really like sticks out. I mean, it's insane to most people, but I mean, it's just kind of like every week. So probably, I guess it was 2016 or so. Brian Wagner ended up getting a hold of the Alaska State Fair, and at that point, Ross was still doing a lot of the announcing for a lot of the All Star Monster Truck Tour shows, and of course, I got drug along to that one.
Right.
Very reluctantly going to Alaska. Why would I ever want to do that? But it was actually pretty cool because Bill Payne pretty much did the entire show for Brian with all his trucks,
Right.
and that's he didn't have the Rockstar 1 or 1.5, but he had Rockstar 2 then. So he still had the wheeling machine, and I pretty much told Bill we had one really sunny, beautiful show, and the backdrop at the Alaska State Fair for monster trucks. If you get the right angle, you have mountains and you have a glacier behind you,
Oh,
and
wow.
that's pretty much the only place you're ever going to get that. So I pretty much talked Bill into coming out for intros and just doing a slap wheelie while I laid on the ground at the end of the track and walk a slap wheelie towards me, so I could shoot the truck doing a slap wheelie with the mountain, the glacier, and everything in the background.
Oh, wow.
That that was probably the best one. Not that I would trust very many people with doing something like that,
Right.
but
Yeah.
Bill is one of the very few that I would fully trust with anything to have the control over and know exactly where he's at and where I'm at, or pretty much anyone else is at. And I've got that trust with a couple other people like Jerry Beck,
Right.
even Elliot Miller. Elliot came from the media side of everything, growing up doing Michigan monster trucks and working for the parents and all that stuff. And so when Elliot drives his truck at his shows and I'm stuck doing photos at his shows or video, I will go to very precarious places that most people wouldn't go to. But Elliot's fully aware that I'm there. He knows exactly what kind of shot that he wants of his truck, and he will make his truck do whatever for that exact shot. So there's a lot of stuff I've done of Elliot throughout the years with doing throwdowns that are just like ungodly, really cool shots, but it's not doing a slap wheelie at me in front of a mountain and a glacier cool.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Now, do you have a lot of, I mean, and you've done other stuff besides monster trucks. I mean, that photo you took of the St. Louis Arch, you know, that's pretty cool, man. The train, that's just some of the stuff that I seen, You've done some. So, do you have any of your photos framed and stuff and put in the house anywhere?
Uh, Honestly, not so much.
Really?
I have a lot of the monster truck stuff framed and kind of hung up.
Uh huh.
Um, I Going to Alaska that first year when we went up there, it was like the picture perfect Alaska trip. Not only did we have a really kick ass monster truck show, but I got to see my favorite band of all time, Volbeat. They were playing the Alaska State Fair, and then we left the Volbeat concert, went back to the hotel, and I was kind of chilling, looking outside, and I really like a bucket list thing for me was always seeing the Northern Lights, and then eventually doing photography of them and everything.
Right.
So the Northern Lights actually came out that night too. So it was like the perfect day of all time, the perfect trip. And I really got into doing aurora photography back then.
Uh huh.
And so now every year when we go to Alaska, me and my wife will go chase them around all night. She usually just sleeps or complains that it's cold outside, whatever. But I'll sit outside for hours on the tripod and just sit there and shoot them. Recently we've had a lot of pretty big solar storms and everything, and I've actually caught them back home uh, two or three times every single year for the last like 2 years now. And the arch picture you're talking about, I actually went to downtown St. Louis and caught the northern lights above basically the St. Louis skyline behind the arch and all that stuff like that. And like none of that's Photoshop or anything. That's all legit.
Yeah.
So being able to see the lights that far south and actually catch them in a major city in downtown at night, it's pretty cool.
Well, I didn't get to see him, but we even had the Northern Lights here in Colorado. There was a couple
Yeah.
times this year that, and towards the end of last year, that they'd come on TV and say, "Hey, tonight, man, you need to go outside because the Northern Lights are looking pretty good." It was more up towards northern Colorado by
Hmm.
closer to Wyoming and stuff. But there were some fantastic pictures, and I didn't get to see them, but I think that's kind of a bucket list deal for me is to be able to see the northern lights. It's got to be pretty wild to see something like that.
Yeah, they're I wouldn't say they're as cool in person because a lot of the color is not really there unless you're outside for hours and kind of let your eyes adjust and it's a pretty strong storm.
Uh huh.
Otherwise, they're kind of just a whitish, very light green tint.
Uh huh.
But what's like super cool and like down in the lower 48, it doesn't happen very often where you get them like overhead or anything.
Uh huh.
But if you're up closer to the Arctic, you're getting that stuff overhead, and that's when you get like all the really crazy like dancing and them kind of moving around and doing all kinds of different things, and that is super cool. Seeing them down here, you just kind of see them on the horizon, and it kind of goes from like a green to red or pink. I mean, it's cool, but it's nothing like up in Alaska or like even uh, since we're in Grand Forks, North Dakota this weekend.
Uh huh.
I think it was 2 years ago, we had a really big solar storm happen on the Sunday of Grand Forks, and I actually stuck around for that one and pretty much chased them from about the time it got dark up here, and then I left Grand Forks about midnight. And basically, I had them from the time that I left here all the way until I got to about Minneapolis when sun rose.
Wow.
So that was like basically 12-ish hours, give or take, of just chasing northern lights up here and just watching them as I drove home. And that was like one of the coolest things because I could just stop on the side of the road, put the camera and tripod out, and do a couple shots and get back on the road and keep going.
Right. Right.
So that's kind of become my other favorite thing. The only like real photo that I've ever taken that's hung up in the house is when I proposed to my wife. I actually did it up in Alaska in front of the aura,
Uh huh.
and I set the tripod up myself, had the camera on a remote shutter, had a flash set up, and basically shot my own proposal in front of the Northern Lights. So
Oh,
that
how
was
cool.
pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really that. You old sentimentalist, you're just a man. You're cool, man. That's all right. So we have questions every once in a while asked by our listening audience, and
Uh,
got a young lady on here. She asked some pretty good questions. She's I've known her since she's been a little girl, and just love her to death, man. And her name is Carter. And Carter wants to know: has he ever been scared that the truck was going to fall near him while he was taking a photo?
yeah, no, that's. I don't want to like name drop, but
I understand.
there's a certain truck that every time I'm around it, I am always on my toes of wanting to do. I mean, I trust them, but then there's times that I don't. So every time that specific truck comes out and I'm shooting photos, I always double check, triple check, quadruple check that I got my escape route and
Right.
that I'm constantly paying even more attention than what I always do.
Right.
So yeah, it does happen.
Uh huh.
There, you never doing this stuff and being around the trucks, regardless of what your role is at a show, you don't ever want to be comfortable around a truck.
No. No.
Um,
No. No.
you don't ever let your guard down. Always be aware of what's happening in your surroundings. So it's not so much like a fear that I think it's going to happen, but it's always, I need to be paying constant attention to like what the truck's doing. And after you do this long enough, you know how the truck's going to react, you know how each individual truck reacts, you know how each driver reacts, and at what point in the run do they start just going ape shit and having fun with it. So it's kind of one of those things where you really got to kind of do it on a truck and driver basis, but for the most part, I know where I'm good, where I'm not for each individual driver and truck nowadays.
Right.
But there's always, a chance that something's gonna, happen. So it's not so much a fear that, I feel like it's gonna happen all the time, but it's always in the back of the head and always just, constantly being aware of everything.
That's the truth, man. When I first started, I worked with track crews like Crazy Charlie and stuff, and
Oh yeah.
Crazy Charlie would do anything. I mean, he'd hop in the wheel of a monster truck and take off while he's sitting in the wheel and do all that stuff. But we were at the Denver shows, and we used to build a big center ramp for the tough trucks and for the monster trucks to use, and Charlie said, "Hey, I need you to come out here in the middle with me." And he says, "I want to explain something to you." And he's like, "We're going to stand out here acting like we're doing something to the ramp, and we're going to let these tough trucks and stuff jump over the top of us." And I said, "What are you talking about?" I said, I'm not going to do that." And he goes, "No, it's fine." He said, it's all good." He said, "I'll be with you, and we'll just go ahead and just before they get to us, we'll fall down on the ground and they'll jump over the top of us." And I said, "Well, what happens if something don't make it?" He goes, "Well, if you hear that truck sputtering," he said, "you're on your own. You need to get up and run or something, you know." But and I would do stupid stuff like that, and then I realized one day I'm putting my life on the for showmanship, because Charlie was trying to drag me into his realm of his portion of the show, you know, and he always did crazy stuff, and I didn't like it. But the one that scared me the most, and and I've said it many a time on the show, was Bill Payne at first when he was in them Jeeps.
No, yeah, no.
He scared the heck out of me in those Jeeps, man. And I love Bill and Lorna to death. Don't get me wrong. I'm not dissing Bill, because he is a fabulous driver right now. You know, he does some good stuff. And but when he was in those Jeeps and he was first starting out, my goodness, I never had been so scared. I used to do some stuff for Terry Diedrich and up in Green Bay, and I told Terry, I said, "I'm not going to be down here, man. You got to put me up in the audience or something." I said, "I'm not going to be down here where you have this announcers table." I said, "I don't. That man's going to run over somebody, and it's not going to be me." It was crazy.
Yeah.
It really was, you know. But I've never seen anybody now do more stuff with monster trucks, and I don't know if he pulls it out of his butt or if he's really that great at it. But man, he's done some fantastic stuff. I'll guarantee you that.
Yeah, young Bill was like one of my favorite drivers to watch.
Yeah,
I love going on YouTube. There's some dude who made like a compilation of Bill driving the Jeeps and Casey Liddell driving the Jeeps,
right,
and then basically Bill, whenever he converted the Jeep into Rockstar 1 and then eventually 1.5.
right.
And man, just like watching Bill go out and do reverse slap wheelies across the floor and just all the crazy crap Bill would make those Jeeps do. Like, man, it sucks the leafers getting tore up, but yeah, I'm kind of okay with it. It's the coolest thing a leafer's ever done. Like, I'm not an old school guy by any means, so like watching Bill do that stuff is like watching, Scott Hess go out and they're out barefoot or something. So it's pretty cool watching Bill run those old trucks for sure.
Guaranteed. All right, so you've done all this, and you know you're in the monster truck game, and then all of a sudden now you're working with Bigfoot, man. That's that's just, I mean, I've been a Bigfoot fan my whole life. My whole life. That's the one that I've seen, the very first truck. That's the one that I still to this day am just still in awe of. You know, I still love to watch Bigfoot run. What is it like working for at the place, man? I mean, being part of day-to-day operations at Bigfoot.
Yeah, man, it's honestly really cool. I've been there since December of 2012 now. Basically, I went up whenever they debuted Bigfoot 20, and they were kind of doing everything with that, and I went up to kind of cover that for the blog stuff and everything. And by that point, I had become pretty good friends with Bob Trent and
Yeah.
everybody else at the shop, and the guy who used to kind of run the front counter, Doug Welker. He was a pretty good friend through RC stuff plus Bigfoot stuff and everything. And he was getting ready to kind of move on in his career and go work for a couple other racing teams, helping higher up, doing some other stuff and manufacturing and everything. So Doug kind of put in good word, and I kind of showed up for the display thing, and they came out and they were talking to me, and they're like, "Hey, Doug's moving on. You'd be a pretty good fit," and kind of filled me in on the whole Robbie Gordon SST thing that was about to go down, and how they needed someone to go out and help film and do video and stuff for that when SST took off
Uh huh.
in the following summer. And it was just perfect timing. So pretty much filled out the application and was working there within, that was in September. So it was like, it took 2 or 3 weeks off after I quit my job at Lexus or whatever. But it was cool going into you know all of a sudden the main man there, you still had Kramer, but then you had Bob Chandler, and it's like, man, this is kind of weird. But now I think it's weird that people, uh, I wouldn't say so much look up to him, but it's like, Bob's been a pretty good friend of mine for quite some time. We both share a love of photography, so we're constantly interchanging photos and tips and tricks. I'll help him with his camera. He'll lend me equipment that he's bought throughout the years whenever I go to Alaska because he likes to do nature stuff.
Oh yeah, guaranteed.
So Bob and I bond a lot over the whole photography thing. So that's always pretty cool. Getting to go in and talk cameras and photos and stuff with Bob just on a Monday. Like, hey Bob,
Yeah.
so do you go shoot singles this weekend? Do you go do the Eagles up in Alton? Like, what'd you do over the weekend? So,
Right.
and he's been doing a lot of woodworking lately instead of photography. So he's getting into that and having a good time with that stuff. But it's honestly, it's super cool. I do a lot of the tours and stuff. Um, it's crazy. The I wouldn't say it's crazy because we're anyone who works in monster trucks was a fan at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But just the knowledge that will come through the doors from the fans. Like, admittedly, I'm not a big old school guy. It wasn't my era of monster trucks. I look at most of it and I'm like, yeah, that's not really my thing. I appreciate it for what it is because it paved the road to what we have now.
Sure.
But it's not something that I'm gonna willingly go out of my way to sit down and watch. Like, if it's a cool clip of, Kramer airing it out, or something like Scott Hess driving. Scott's like my favorite old school guy. It's like watching a modern day truck, but back in the '80s, so it's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just not my thing. So you'll have all these people come in, and Bigfoot has the most diehard fans there are, period. Pretty much anyone who is even a casual monster truck fan in the least bit, they happen to be a huge Bigfoot fan, and they just don't know it. So having that and having all these people, especially around open house, that come in that just have this ungodly is the only word I can think of, knowledge of Bigfoot and everything with every single truck and every component that each truck had on it. It's like, man, I could never think of that and I would never retain that. But then I think about it too, and it's like, oh, well, this guy runs this chassis and this, shock setup and these, axles and planetaries. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, never mind, I get it. It's just not my thing, and I'm not interested in that portion of it.
Right.
When it comes to, old school, but new school's cool. And so it's crazy. Like, honestly, the other day, I guess it was actually Tuesday, we had a mom and her son come in from Alabama, and took him around, and kid was super interested in everything, had a ton of knowledge of not only Bigfoot but monster trucks in general. And we were out back, and I was showing him some of the crush cars from when we tested Bigfoot 25 like 2 weeks ago. And the kid kind of looked at me, he's like, so do you know like any of the Transformers? And I'm like the movie Transformers? He's like, no, like Robosaurus and Megasaurus. And then he said, and Draco the Dragonator. And I'm like, man, that is the first time I've ever heard anybody outside of the industry in any way, shape, or form reference Draco the Dragonator.
Right.
So it's just crazy the amount of random knowledge that will come through that door at any given point. And I consider myself a pretty big monster truck fan. I mean, I'm kind of around on 24/7. So,
Right.
but they know so much more about like all the old stuff than I do. And I like will sit down and I'll watch videos and kind of study some of it. I know all the basic knowledge and stuff like that, but like I can't tell you what happened at Louisville Speedway back in 1987 and round two of racing. Like, I can't tell you that, but somebody can come through the door and they'll walk you through the whole show
Right.
because that was their entire life, and that is what brings them joy. So like the coolest thing, honestly, out of anything Bigfoot right now is, and it really showed last year at the 50th anniversary open house, is every truck that Bigfoot has sold off throughout history has now been purchased by a lifelong Bigfoot fan who is literally pouring their entire life savings into not only purchasing the trucks, but restoring them 100% to accuracy to even specific events that they were at when they were a kid.
Wow.
And the humbling feeling from that, knowing that I've been involved with Bigfoot for 13 of their 50 years, is it's kind of cool that the company that I work for not only created the entire industry that I know and love, but Bob created basically the ultimate piece of Americana and something that drives people to have a goal in life to be able to obtain. So last year we actually had almost every single truck. The only ones that were missing were Bigfoot number 7. That's the one that we sold to Race Rock as a clone of the 10-footer.
Uh-huh.
And now it's sitting at Fun Spot USA, and multiple people tried to buy it and they won't come off of it. So that truck's kind of there permanently for now. We didn't have Bigfoot 6, as that truck's getting restored over in Egypt right now. Um, and Bigfoot number 9, which is a truck that got taken by Customs.
Yeah.
That truck wasn't there on site either. But every other truck that we have sold off throughout the years, Bigfoot 1, or not Bigfoot 1, but Bigfoot 2, Bigfoot 3, um, 4, dressed up as Snakebite, all those trucks were there and pretty much 100% restored back to their original look. The shuttle, the Ranger, fast tracks, all that stuff.
Wow.
So having the entire fleet and having this entire army of Bigfoot fans, which a lot of them they call themselves blue bloods, which is kind of funny. But they absolutely it drives them. It's a huge part of their life, and knowing that the company that you work for created this drive in so many people to give them these goals and to have this passion that they have because of people like Bob and Jim back in the day, especially Jim pushing Bigfoot to what it became after Bob kind of stepped back
That's the
and
truth.
just ran everything. um, the early drivers that pioneered all that stuff, they left a lasting impression on multiple generations of people, which is cool.
Yes, they did.
And inspired people like me to get into it. And yeah, it's been fun. So giving the tours, I always, tell everyone at the end, hey, most race shops, pretty much any race shop, especially a professional one, you're probably not getting a tour. And if you do, you're definitely not going out on ground floor, and you're definitely not being able to sit in a truck if we have one you can sit in.
Right.
Like, all of this stuff is done because all of us that work here had somebody do this for us at some point in their life, and now we're here and we're doing what we love for a living every single day.
Yeah.
Um, and if it weren't for fans, monster trucks wouldn't even be a thing anyway. They weren't intended to be a thing, and it just so kind of happened. And because of that, we're 50 years into it, well, 51 years now, into an industry that was never really intended to be a thing at the start. And that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So
Guaranteed, man.
people love it. They love to go out and kind of see everything, and it works out pretty well. I get some fresh air out of the office for a little bit, and get to go show people some cool trucks, and hopefully try to leave some type of impression on them to either keep going with monster trucks because eventually everyone there isn't going to be driving anymore. So you guys can fill in or do whatever. You can put tires on it. It's all good. So
Have you ever had anybody that just come up and said, "No, you're wrong there. This is exactly the way it is," and just kind of really, in other words, school you, saying, "No, this is what it is."
yeah, time to time with the old school stuff, but usually I don't. I just straight up tell people, yeah, it's not my thing.
Well,
Unless
there you go.
I know, like there's a couple people listening that are like, oh yeah, no, he hates old school trucks.
Well,
It's not a hatred. It's just it's an annoyance. But no, it's really just a lot of people that come up. And this is just monster trucks in general, and you know it. Everybody helped build Bigfoot. Everybody, would go out and go mudding with Bob, and they owned Bigfoot and sold it to Bob or whatever. Uh, there's always a lot of that, and that kind of just goes with nature of anything, though.
right.
And you're just like, yeah, man, you're totally right. Yep, that's it. Because you're not going to change the way somebody's was either
No.
told or loved it or grew up thinking that's what it was. It's
Right.
like telling a little kid Santa's not real. You're not going to do
Yeah,
that.
that's
You're
the
like, yeah,
truth.
man, you absolutely did. That's cool that you did that.
Well, that's and boy, you could just see them beam. They just glow because it's this man that works at Bigfoot's agreeing with what I know, and
Yep.
it's just what it is, agreements and stuff. So,
Yep. Just
I mean, now we're taking monsters across the ocean, across the pond. I mean, you got trucks running with Hot Wheels and stuff like that. It's becoming really like a worldwide thing, man. I mean, people are really into it more than you'd really think so.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of getting back to, well, especially the Hot Wheels series. They have that worldwide superpower. Everybody in every country knows what a Hot Wheels is.
Right.
And that's what's really driving. And like over in Europe and stuff, they're not, as good with monster truck stuff as what we are. I mean, they do have the coolest monster truck series ever over there with the Monster Race series. But aside from that, the Hot Wheels shows are now almost every continent. They're probably going to do in Asia at some point. I know they're doing South America. We actually have three trucks over in Europe right now. We have another one that's getting ready to Bigfoot 25 is going to go down and debut in Mexico, and then from there it goes to Puerto Rico and Costa Rica, all with Hot Wheels. So Bigfoot as a whole, with like their own trucks, has been kind of exclusive to the Hot Wheels series since about 2023.
Uh-huh.
And that's only because Hot Wheels is providing so much work for the trucks that it basically books up the entire schedule. So, we've been leasing a body out to like Roger Gallagher, and we did some of the Monster Truck Insanity tour, and then Josh Baumgartner.
Yeah.
So we've had, a handful of Bigfoot bodies out. And what's kind of cool about those is like, especially with Roger Gallagher, he runs the Full Throttle Monster Truck series, and they support the Hall of Fame pretty much. They put on the spring show and kind of help manage and run that stuff. But what they do is JR, who runs Full Throttle, he used to do a lot of like demo derbies and stuff, but he's got roughly like 50 or 60 shows during the summer. That
Uh-huh.
is just all little county fair shows throughout like Illinois, Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio. And so we have Roger Gallagher running our truck in that one. And Roger's like, him and Kathy are like some of my favorite people of all
They are.
time. Think very highly of those guys.
Yep.
So getting to help Roger get all that sorted out, and kind of being like, hey, we should give Roger a little chance, and then Dan being like, oh yeah, Roger's like awesome,
Yeah.
and then working that out and getting a deal going Full Throttle, um, all that coming together, and Roger being one of the very few list of people throughout the history of Bigfoot, um, or as a whole, leasing out bodies to independent teams to run on their own trucks
Mm-hmm.
because we trust them enough as a driver. We trust their equipment enough that it's not going to let us down. It's going to live up to the Bigfoot name, stuff like that. So Roger getting to go around, and they also have like Thomas Borders. He's running a backup Bigfoot body for those when JR's got double, triple book shows, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Those two are going to all the other places, while Hot Wheels has us so busy right now that any given weekend we can have 7 or 8 race trucks out doing shows for Hot Wheels.
Wow.
And it's such a worldwide thing. Like in the States, we're running 3 trucks currently. Internationally, we're currently running 3 trucks for them. But then 25, whenever it goes down, technically it's going to be 4 trucks on the road, or 4 trucks internationally on the road for Hot Wheels, and then 3 still domestically. And they're doing a lot of bigger stadium shows and stuff now, like college football stadiums. And with those shows, they're booking in more and more and more trucks. I think they're up to 14 or 15 trucks per show now for those ones.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of those times, what they do is they run a team versus team thing. So it's the 7 trucks of one tour versus the 7 trucks of another tour.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, what Bigfoot's going to do the best donut? What Bigfoot's going to do the best wheelie? And they set up kind of mirrored courses on the floor. So one corner will have a course, the other corner will have an identical course. And the trucks just kind of stay on one side. And each independently, you're basically running 2 shows during one show.
Right.
It's the way they got that set up, and that's all in the glow in the dark stuff and everything. So the kids really dig that stuff. They're very fast paced. It's just don't lose the attention span of the 3 to 6 year old kid.
Yeah.
So with these shows, the guys, it's not the demand to go out and win a championship, so parts aren't as hard on, and it just kind of works out pretty well. And really, they run nonstop almost every single weekend from the first week of January until like 2 weeks before Christmas now. And
Wow.
it's just insane the amount of work that the Hot Wheels series provides. And what's cool is like they're getting all the same venues and markets and everything that Feld used to have a stranglehold on. You couldn't get into the same venue that Feld does.
Right.
So when Monster Jam and Bigfoot splitting ways back in '98, Bigfoot hasn't been in a lot of these markets in, 30, 35 years. And being able to go back to those, and I know a couple of the guys, whenever we did, I guess, New York City for the first time in like 35 years or something like that, they said the noise and the eruption from the crowd when Bigfoot came out to its own little intro thing, because they kind of did a special intro for that one. They said it was pretty much something they will never forget. And so being able to, a lot of these Hot Wheels shows, they have like three generations that come in. So they have the grandparents, their kid and the grandson.
Right.
And it's just it's a whole generational type thing. And what they're doing now with the trucks at the Hot Wheels shows, it's not the extreme air or the, destruction or all the stunts or anything. It's, car crushing.
Right.
And they just trying to mimic you playing crushing your Hot Wheel cars on the floor. So it's really not much different than stuff back in the '80s when they were going to shows back in the day. It's just more modern trucks that, I mean, Bigfoot still looks the same. It's '79 Ford, so that's cool.
Yeah.
And it's just a little bit more flashy now with LEDs on it. And there's not too much difference going on between generation to generation with the Hot Wheel events.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going there to go watch a backflip or anything like that. You're going to go have a good time with your kid, let them enjoy some cool lights, and all the cool interactive stuff for those guys, and all the commercials and videos for the toys and their cartoons and stuff they do. It's like the ultimate thing. If you have a kid who might be interested in monster trucks or at least monster truck toys, definitely take them to a Hot Wheels show, because it's 100% designed for that. It's to engage the kids and try to keep them interested in toys and monster trucks instead of just letting it be like a 1 year fad.
Right.
It's so much engagement with it that's trying to draw them in and keep them around. So there's a whole method to all of it, and it's pretty cool. Whenever you're like kind of sitting even on the outside, because admittedly I don't do a lot of the Hot Wheel events because I'm busy doing so many other shows, or it just doesn't work out. So I don't really, pay too much attention to that stuff. I watch, what we do and post some clips and full footage and stuff like that. But I typically don't watch much outside. Like I haven't watched anything Monster Jam this year, probably even last year. I don't watch a lot of the other tours, and then I just kind of focus on what I got going on and trying to do the best I can with that, plus balance everything at Bigfoot and work all that out, which it does a pretty good job. But now that we have the social media stuff and everything, and kind of managing that with, we got Rebecca Schnell doing a lot
She's
of
doing a
some of the
fantastic
social
job,
media
man.
stuff. Yeah, I'm not a person for camera. I'm not really one for radio either. But so I don't like doing the whole camera stuff. Being on the other side of the camera, I should say.
Right.
I'm all for all the creative stuff, but I'm not one to go out and like try to pump up a little kid. That's not my thing.
Right.
Rebecca's great at that.
She
It's
is.
just not, it's not my personality per se.
Right.
So having her on the other side of that and letting her kind of run her creative and get her personality out, it's bridging the gap between like what I do for our social media stuff. Because I try to go towards more of the hardcore fan, the guy who appreciates all the technical type stuff, and she's going for the younger, the mom group that's taking their kids to Hot Wheels and doing kind of the whole TikTok-ish style, videos with it that all the younger people watch.
Right.
That I'm like, yeah, I don't even have TikTok and I have no desire to.
Right.
I'm not making TikTok trends. Like, that's not my thing. So, or like even some of the goofy Instagram reels and stuff, like that's not my thing. I want to like show off the action, make the trucks look good, make the drivers look good, all that cool stuff like that. I can do that all day long, but when
Right.
it comes to like all the trendy stuff, I'm like, man, I'm not cut out for this. This does not go with my personality. So,
Right.
like even running my own stuff, since I kind of started doing my own thing with the Maass Media thing now, um, I have no interest in doing any of the trend stuff that's going around with photography pages or video pages now. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
man, no, that's not for me.
Right.
I'm just going to continue being my smart ass self and calling people out and being able
That's
to
what I
run
love
social
about you,
media
though, bro.
how
Please don't
Yeah,
change.
I just want to run social media how I want to run it and have
Right.
fun with it. Like if you're gonna make a dumb comment, I'm probably just gonna call you out on my own thing because I, held it in all week long on every other page I manage, and it's like, all right, cool, yeah, you're gonna hear it from me tonight.
There you
Congrats.
go. There you go, man. Yeah, I had Rebecca and Darren on the show, man, and it was phenomenal. I mean, she's just, Darren, he's okay, but Rebecca, she was just, man, I just sat back and let her talk, and she was amazing, She really was.
Yeah, she's like I said, I love giving tours. I love the whole one-on-one thing, but when it's like a group of people, I get overwhelmed with it, and I'm like, man, I want to focus and make sure everyone feels like they're welcome here.
Right,
I can't do that to a group. Rebecca can come in and just get the whole group, get them listening to her like she's a teacher, no matter how old they are,
right.
and she will corner them, make them all sit in a circle, and it's like, man, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. So Rebecca's actually been doing a lot of extra tours and stuff while she's kind of been home. So with her doing the nursing and all that, she meets all kinds of people through all walks of life, and
Sure.
so she's been, setting up tours for. We've had a couple special needs homes come in over the last couple of weeks. They've been coming in, and those people are so awesome. They'll come in. Uh, Basically, the caregivers and everything are like the most friendly people of all time. Extremely thankful. Always, be like, hey, is it okay if we come in? We're like, yeah, come on in, and take everybody out and spend a little bit of time with them, and make them feel like they're part of the team. That stuff has been crazy lately. She's been doing a lot of homeschool groups actually. So there's like a homeschool network on Facebook or something like that that she connected with through somebody that she met doing nursing, I guess.
Uh huh.
And so while she was back home, there's like one or two homeschool groups a week where, they could just get out of the house, come down and basically do a field trip as, a group of like 10 people or whatever. And Rebecca and Darren would sit out there and spend all the time in the world with them. And it was super cool.
Yeah.
Um, so she's been doing a lot of the group stuff plus the social media stuff. She really wanted to kind of take that and run with it and get the geezer boomers out of the way and be like, yeah, man, we're gonna play with this stuff, and it's been turning out awesome. So
Cool, man.
it's just a different look.
Do you think that Bob and Ann are responsible for taking Bigfoot to the next level?
Yeah, definitely. The amount of just like the random sponsorships that we've had throughout the years with Bob kind of
Yeah.
taking care of all that. Like we had the Vicor sponsorship
Yeah.
for quite a bit. That was a truck that Darren kind of got manned with. Out of anything in the history of monster trucks, the Vicor cow feed company was probably one of the top sponsorships of all time.
Really?
Anyone who worked at Bigfoot around that time frame would probably fully agree because there was really nothing too much expected out of it. Just hey, cool, yeah, paint your truck like a cow and
A
put our logo
Holstein,
on it.
a Holstein cow
Eh,
truck.
eh,
Yeah.
yeah, and they loved it. They were based out of like Mason City, Iowa, and I think Purina bought them out, and that's the only reason the sponsorship ended.
Uh huh.
They had actually just expanded to basically fully funding two trucks. Um, with they had Darren and Bigfoot 15 at the time, and then Josh Gibson had just started driving for us, and he was in 14, and they had just sponsored the second Vicor truck,
Uh huh.
which was for another company they had called TrueMax or something like that. So just like all the cool sponsorships with that, and then getting in, with Hot Wheels right off the bat, and working everything that we have going with those guys, because we also, in addition to doing all the show stuff, we also transport a lot of their show supplies, their show tour merchandise, and we kind of have like a warehouse on site now that we built specifically for our product and Hot Wheels product
Uh
because
huh.
we went from not needing much of anything to now there's 15 pallets of merch going to a Hot Wheels show over the weekend for the entire tour.
Wow.
And so it's crazy the amount of growth, especially since we moved down to the city of Pacific. When we moved to Pacific, Missouri from Hazelwood, that was probably the biggest growth factor in the last probably 30 years of Bigfoot, if not longer.
Right.
Um, Going down to the new shop and kind of getting a fresh start with that, we had already reduced the team down to I think either 4 or 5 trucks running full time and kind of scrapped the other ones or sold them, whatever. But for race trucks, I think we were running 4 trucks, maybe 5 trucks in, because it would have been Dan and Larry,
Yeah.
and then we had
Rick,
J.R. Adams,
was Rick
and
one of
we had
them?
Rick. Rick was still there up until he stayed like 1 or 2 years, and after we moved, and then they ended up moving out to South Carolina for his company that he was working for doing local trucking.
Right.
After he quit Bigfoot and everything, so Rick was probably, yeah, I guess Rick was in 15 full time then, or yeah, he would have been in 15. Darren was in 19 at the time. Larry was in 18, and Dan would have been in 21.
Uh-huh.
And that was kind of the whole fleet for the 40th anniversary. Everything had been downsized to kind of focus more so on the trucks and make them better. So whenever we moved down there, we had a 100% fresh start because we had just kind of formulated what the fleet was going to be. We got the brand new shop, which was laid out so much nicer than what the old location was. While the old one was super iconic with the showroom and all that stuff like that, the museum had kind of went away. We weren't selling parts anymore, so the showroom was basically storage for the Indy car that Firestone sent us, or Bigfoot One or Bigfoot Eight, whatever. Just something to kind of fill space and get it out of the shop and out of a trailer and give people something to see. So when we moved down there, we started off, we just had the regular shop, and then we added on a paint booth and a bay to work on all the rigs and everything. And then we had an entire lot that we got next door. That has now turned into where we do all the open house events. For the 50th anniversary open house, we estimated roughly about 8,000 people came, and most of them never left throughout the day. So in our little cul-de-sac that we have in Pacific, the entire street was blocked off. We had 30 trucks there total, our stuff, all the clone trucks, the replicas, all that stuff. We had Gunslinger there, so it was cool to have a lot of that stuff, and just the amount of people that showed up and never left, because during the open house events, we're basically running stuff in the field all day long. Jeff Karkler puts together a fantastic old school show.
Uh-huh.
He gets a bunch of the old school guys to go out and run hard. So it used to do, we'd do racing and we would do all that stuff with them. But now we just started letting them kind of have a little free for all, and we'll put various obstacles out with, crush cars or vans or whatever. And those guys could go out and just basically play around on a playground built for them, but in front of, a couple thousand people.
Well, that's cool.
And it's turned into such a cool thing, and just the growth of that and everything with Hot Wheels. And I mean, in the last 4 years now, we've had 3 brand new turnkey ready to run Dan Patrick trucks built for all the international shows we're doing for Hot Wheels.
Uh-huh.
So the amount of growth, especially even since we went to Pacific from Bob and Ann, has been pretty insane.
Yeah,
When you
I
step
have to
back and
agree.
look at it.
I have to agree, man. They're just they have taken something that Bob created and just really ramped it up. I mean, I bet you Bob's amazed to really think about, something that he created a long time ago is now running in Europe with 3 different trucks and different things like that, and how big it's gotten, and how he's merged with Hot Wheels and all the other stuff that it's done, and that's got to be pretty cool to be able to see, your daughter and her husband taking what he built and really just making it blow up, man, because that's what it's done so far. Is it's blown up. It really has.
Yep, it's the 50th was really the staple point of just how far everything has came, and that it never dwindled off like most other fads do. So
Sure.
that was pretty cool.
Well, when I had Jim Kramer on the show, Jim was like, Bob asked me if I wanted to come to work with him. And I said, no, I'm not really. He said, and Bob said, well, it's probably not going to last very long, but geez, man, look how long it's lasted, man, 50 years, it's amazing. I mean, it really is to just see, and I kind of, I like all aspects of it. I like the old stuff because I was around the old stuff, I mean,
Yep.
as an announcer and stuff like that. But just to see what these kids are doing nowadays with these trucks is just totally amazing. I mean, I remember we did the Cardinal Stadium, and
Hmm.
we had that media day there, and there was some media company there from England, and this lady asked me, she goes, "What is the next big thing that monster trucks are going to do?" And I said, "Oh, you'll probably get somebody that's going to try to do a backflip, but I don't think it's going to be a successful one." How wrong I was, you know. I mean, it's
Right.
amazing what they've done and stuff, and come far since Cardinal Stadium, man. How far it's gone.
Yeah, and it's like even you look back 10 years and some of the stuff that the kids are doing, like Tyler Meninga and Zach Garner,
Yeah,
Little John, CP3, um, it's insane. And literally all that comes from playing monster truck simulators because nobody can make a proper monster truck game for some reason. So now diehard fans have to be the ones to do it.
right.
And it's amazing how much that like translates to real life. Like, not that I did good by any means, but like 3 years ago, Jerry Beck let me drive one of his trucks at the Hillsborough, Missouri show during freestyle. Larry Swim actually had to strap me in. I wore his disgustingly sweaty fire suit because it was, you know how Larry sweats,
Yes, I
but
do.
no, it was literally 106 degrees outside,
Oh man.
106 ambient degrees,
Oh,
and I basically, like, I was giving Larry crap about it. He's like, well, "Do you want to drive?" Jerry said you could. I'm like, "Oh, cool, awesome, yeah, let's go." Strap me in 5 minutes before I had to freestyle. I mean, it wasn't like a nervous thing or anything, and it was fun.
right.
But because I had the simulator rig and everything for that video, the simulator that they have built and everything, and I had been playing around with that for 2 or 3 months now, and just driving with the in-cab view of it and everything. Honestly, the positioning of the truck and knowing where the ass ends at when you're slinging around a turn or going into a turn, whichever, you 100% are confident with where it's at because the simulator that these people have built is so accurate that it gives you a real sense of feel of positioning of the truck and where it's at. Where when you would typically get in something for the first time like that, you'd be like, "Man, I don't know how far the back end's swinging out when I kick the rear steer." It felt 100% identical to what it does when you play the game.
Wow.
So like these kids are learning how to do all the crazy, moonwalks and stoppies, and now how like Weston Anderson is spinning the truck around on the front end doing a stoppie and stuff. All that comes from just logging hours and hours and hours on the simulators that they kind of grew up playing. And so now that all translates to real life, and they just keep making these games better, and you get more and more kids playing these games and getting super good at it. Well, you take those kids that are doing that, you go strap them in a truck and give them half hour to get comfortable with it, and they're going to be doing that same stuff.
Guaranteed.
So it's just crazy to like even see how far that stuff has come, because I would have never imagined 10 years ago that trucks would be doing stoppies and then putting them in reverse and backing them up over obstacles and stuff. Why would you ever think that would be possible?
Right.
But then you get people like Tom Mintz that say they could take them out and train someone in a half hour to have them doing it. It's because the trucks are so well built nowadays. And I honestly, I mean, you look at all the cool 90s trucks, every truck had its own, personality. And you don't have that anymore because the monster truck has now been pretty much perfected to its maximum point with either those Eddie Micah chassis or Cohen's or whichever, CRDs. Those things are just from ease of, removing transmission, motors, reliability, the geometry on them. They just work. And even the newer Patrick trucks are kind of the same way. Though they're a little bit, more of the old school with the cradle design and everything, which works awesome for the Hot Wheels shows because you're basically shortening it. The trucks are performing more without having to do more because they're doing it by nature.
Right.
So having all those trucks doing the Hot Wheels shows, it's nice because they can hit the cars, get the nice pop off of it, and it's not going to soak it up like a truck like Bigfoot 21 did. Um, like Dan and Larry had to drive the living crap out of that truck to make it look like it was doing something because it worked so well.
Right.
And that's always the fun thing is like, how much further can a monster truck go now? When you got Dave Tucker building the just amazing independent suspension truck, it's cool watching it, but it doesn't work like a monster truck. So it's like, is the crowd impressed with it because it works so well, or are they bored by it because it works so well? I don't know. I haven't seen it, and I hope to get to see the truck one day for that reason. But with kind of what we got going on now with the newer chassis and that, and what they're making the trucks do, I'm sure it's just gonna the next thing's gonna be something nobody would ever think would be possible in a truck, or even think to consider somebody doing that. Because once you get to a certain point with these kids in the game, and they're going to be pretty much unstoppable.
Sure. Guaranteed,
So
man.
it,
Guaranteed.
that's for sure.
Well, Danny, I'll tell you what, man. You don't know how much this meant that you, because you told me that Cheech had asked you, and you told him no, not a, but you said yes to me, and I really, really appreciate it. Number one is because I've always enjoyed hanging out with you guys, man, and you always treated me so well, and I just appreciate the camaraderie and the friendship and the bond that we've kind of made. We might not see each other every day, but we know that if you was needed, you know, that one of us would be there for each other or whatever. You know, I mean, that's just the way it is, and I appreciate it so much. And I always ask somebody the last question of the evening, because we've let's see here, it's 8:52. It's going to be 2 hours if you really look at it, and I know we could go longer, but I know that you got stuff to do, and I want to be respectful of your time and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
what do you want to be known as when you get out of the monster truck business, when you get out of the industry? What do you want people to know you as? It's like, man, Danny Maass is to the monster trucks.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, just in the grand scheme of things, I'm pretty much a nobody in it. I take pictures and stuff, and I try
But
to make people look good and try to make the events look good. But it's like not something I want to be like, I guess, known as per se. I don't really know. That's honestly a pretty good question.
right,
Yeah, I
I've
don't.
stumped a lot of
It's
people with that one. But I mean, whether you really know it or not, you have a name in the business, man. And I mean, you have a name through the photography, through the monster blog, through just everything, through your work at Bigfoot and stuff like that. And you will be known in the monster truck business, whether you think you will or not. You will be known somehow, some way. Your name will get brought up, and then say, "I remember this young man, and he did this, and he did that." And that's why I always ask, and I've stumped a lot of people and they've never given me an answer, and that's fine. But I just want you to know that your contribution to the you're contributing to the monster truck stuff, the stuff you've done has made an impact in certain ways, and that's just the way it is, man. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I totally get it too because like we'll have Eric Stern come to a couple of the monster truck throwdown shows throughout the summer, and usually when Eric comes, Elliot's got his nice air conditioned show trailer, because we're doing shows in the middle of the Midwest in the middle of summer, so
Right.
it's disgusting. So we corner Eric in the show trailer, and we're like, all right, Eric, tell us what your favorite thing is from your favorite memory that you did at a show or whatever, and then make him go into like immense detail about it. He's like, I don't know why you guys are like this. And we're like, because we grew up staring at your work, and that's what make us like monster trucks, and we are going to get you into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So we need to get that story out there like ASAP. So start talking. And Eric hates it at first, but then we get him going on it pretty good, and he gets into it. So it's fun. And I guess there's a younger generation that grew up looking at my stuff whenever I first started with the blog
Right.
and all that. And yeah, I'm sure it definitely inspires more people than what I know or would ever consider thinking that people do.
I,
So
I have to agree
eh,
with you. I mean, it's same with Ross, same with Colby, and just everybody. I mean, I just think that the Monster Blog has contributed so much information and so much stuff to the monster truck world that you guys are going to be You guys are going to be known for it, man. And I really do. You know, Chris too. Just everybody. I just think it's going to be. I think that's what it. That's my opinion. Whether it's worth anything, I have no idea. But I just feel that that's the way it is, man. I mean, we wouldn't have the stuff that you guys created if you guys didn't create it. And it's
Right. Yeah, it's
enshrined. It's
just
enshrined. You guys,
it's
but
like a matter of just making Ross like commit to it because he's so busy with like real work now. So
right.
I would get behind on like sending photo galleries and stuff too, and he'd be like, "Well, you didn't send me anything," and I'm like, "Well, you weren't going to post it." So then it just turns into like a big thing. So now, like every Monday when I get home and I edit photos, I like send him 5 messages, 6 messages, whatever, until he finally reads it. And I'm like, "Yeah, get your ass downstairs and go upload this stuff. Let's go." I did my end. Now you just gotta post it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like Ross inspired me as a kid looking at early TMB stuff whenever it was
Sure.
like 9, 10, whatever, and then it's funny because like I can point out a random photo that's not watermarked or anything, and I'd be like, "Yeah, it's one of Ross's pictures." He's like, "I really hate that you know that." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, it just happens."
Well, Danny, I tell you what, man. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. Thank you for everything that you've done for the sport. And number one, just thank you for even taking the time to talk to a roller, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I got to see a roller donut before I go though.
Dude, I don't know. I don't have the room to, you know, that is, that I have not had since I've started this show, had anybody ask
Man,
me that, dude. And that's how long that me and you have been friends because of the roller donuts. And, you know, really, literally between the table and the backdrop here, I can't do it. It's not, there's not enough room. I mean,
oh
I would
man,
do it in a heartbeat for you. If nobody else, I would do it for you because you asked. But there's just no, I mean, I could take the headphones off and just kind of walk in a circle, but it wouldn't be the roller donuts that I used to do on the show, man.
no, that would be more like a Don King style donut, and we don't need the standing on the tailgate doing a donut.
Right, exactly.
We just need an old school roller donut.
Yeah,
So
man. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll redesign this just for you. I'm gonna move it out a little bit, and I'm gonna start bringing the roller donuts back, man. I'll do that just because you asked. Nobody has asked that since I started doing this, and when you said that, man, I just was just like, wow, that was a long time ago, man. But that was what we
yeah,
did when we ended every show. I did a roller donut, man. It was the truth.
yeah. You'll have to wait until I make Ross come on here with you, and you'll have to do a dual roller donut. Ross can do one at his house, and you can knock one
Guaranteed.
out with the new layout.
Right, you know, dude, I would love. I've put in many a call, and everybody's telling me the same thing. You know, Ross is so busy that he don't have time for his own self, let alone giving anybody a call. But I would consider an honor to have Ross on. I want to try to get Colby on. He said he'd do it, but I know you guys are busy right now with the tour and stuff, and just taking the time to get it done is tough. You know, so but yeah, I want to have. I'd love to have Chris on too if he wants to do it. So, and then anybody else from the tour, man, if you can persuade him to. I tell
Yep.
everybody that this is my baby, and I need help growing my baby, and my baby's getting big, but I need help from you guys, and you're in front of these guys every weekend, and you're talking to them, and it's just like Hobble. I know Hobble will come on sometime when he gets a chance because you know he said he would, and I'm gonna hold him to it. But I need those drivers. I need that the contact with these new drivers that I don't know or anything, and I'm gonna treat them with respect. I'm gonna create a song for them, and we're gonna have a good time, and we're gonna talk, man. And that's what I want to do. This is my deal right now.
I know our main promoter Kelly. She was giving me crap the other day. I'm like, I mean, if you want to do it, I can get you on there. And she's like, yeah, it would be good to tell the story of promoting in the '90s compared to now. And
Yeah.
I think Kelly would be a really good interview, and she really wants to get it out there. So
Well, let's do it, man. I mean,
need to make it happen.
yeah. All we have to do is we have to get a phone number to one of each
Yep.
other, and we need to call because, like right now, April's full. I'm starting on March or May, and you know May will be full before you know it. But yeah, I wanna get. I want to know all. It used to be just focused on the monster truck drivers. I don't do that
Yep.
anymore. I want all aspects of the whole sport, man. I want it all, and that would be awesome. I've never met her, but she is more than welcome to be on the show, and I'd love to talk to her, man, and I'd love to find out exactly what she did, what she does now, what she does on her off time, and different things like that, man. I want to know all that stuff.
Yeah, I think Kelly would be a pretty good one. So I'll tell her you're down.
Okay, yeah, I am. I really am. So, and Carter, roller donuts are what I used to do at the end of the show when I had Monster Truck Radio, and I'd sit here and spin in my chair until I got dizzy and fell out of the chair or whatever. So it was just something stupid, but everybody couldn't wait for or Monster Truck rental car stories. We did that too.
No, yeah,
The
that's some quality stuff.
That was good stuff right there. So, but I'll tell you what, Danny, I appreciate you very much. You have a safe weekend, and any help you can do, I would be honored, man. And if they say, "Hey, Danny told me to call," then just consider them on the show, man. And because if you're telling me that they're good enough to be on the show, then I'm gonna put them on. You know, I really am.
Oh yeah, man. It'll be a good time. So yeah, but man, stay safe. It was great talking to you,
Yeah.
and we'll catch up soon for sure.
All right, and I got to get Trent on too, man. I need to talk to him and get him on, and him and Ann, and I want to talk to them. I haven't talked to them in a long time, so there's a lot I got to do, and I'm gonna be here for a while. I ain't going nowhere, so I'm gonna be here for a while, and I got a good listening audience, and it's getting bigger and bigger every week. So that's what it's all about.
Awesome, man.
All right, bro. Have a safe one, man. Be safe, okay?
All right, man. Good talking to you.
All
That was
right.
fun.
Good to talk to you. Bye bye.
All right,
All
see
right.
ya.
Bye bye. Guys, you know, that's what it's about, man, right there. I say this every week, but it's just the history that I have with this gentleman and the things that he's done in his career and different things like that that makes such a good story, that makes such a great episode that I get to bring to you guys. And I'm glad that you all kind of hang out and listen. I have no idea how many people listen out there. If you don't interact with the group by saying something. I don't know if you're out there. I've had people say, "Hey, I listen to your show every week," and I said, "Well, why don't you get on and say something?" And they said, "Because I don't. I just want to listen to your show." So I really don't know how many listeners I do have. I really don't. I wish there was a way that I could track that. I've looked all through Facebook, and it doesn't have that. I mean, the only thing it's ever showed me is at one time my biggest listening audience was in the Philippines, and I just don't understand that, but that's okay. You know, I haven't looked at that program in a while. I need to find out where it is. It also gives me an age breakdown or male or female, but that's as far as I don't have any idea who listens or what or anything like that. So if you are out there and you are a monster truck driver or you do something in the monster truck world, I want to talk to you. I want you to be on the show. All you have to do, there's Greg Hoffman. Hi there, Mr. Hoffman. How you doing, buddy? I want to talk to you guys, and you can get a hold of me. Just go to my website and fill out the little form that says, "Hey, I want to be on your show." And all you do is you just give your name, your phone number, and your email, and you tell me what you do in the motorsports business, in the monster truck world. And it doesn't have to be just monster trucks. It can be dragsters, it can be circle track, it can be you race motorcycles. I don't care. If you want to be on the show and you want to be heard and your story's told, I'm your huckleberry, man. I am your huckleberry for sure. So you know, that's it. Old. Greg said it right. Old roller for sure. So let's see here. Let's do a couple. What time is it? It's 9:04 right now. I'm gonna play two songs and then I'm gonna get out of here and let you guys get to bed. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I really thank Danny for hanging out with us and being with him. It was a good interview. I really enjoyed it. I knew he'd be a good interview for sure. So let's see here. What do we got? I'm kind of unprepared here. Let's just do. We'll just play. I think I played this one last week, but we'll play it again, man. This is called Main Street Memories. We'll be right back here on Pedal to the Metal, Motors and Music.
Friday night, small town glow, neon buzz and the radio low. Pulled up slow by the old car wash, just me and the boys letting time get lost. Shined up chrome on the parking lot lights, laughing loud, yeah, we own those nights. Picked up friends, piled in tight, windows down in the summer night. We didn't know it then, but man, we had it all. Every mile we drove, we were standing tall. Those were our Main Street memories, cruising slow through our golden years. Million miles on a two-lane dream, blacktop hearts and gasoline. V8 motors thundering loud, shaking glass all through downtown. Camaros, Mustangs, Mopar too. Everybody asking who's gonna rule. Girls waving, hey, take me for a ride. Young hearts burning under neon lights. Yeah, we didn't know just what we had, but looking back, man, it don't get better than that. Those Main Street memories, music blasting from every door. Different songs, but we all wanted more. Headlights lined up, engines rev. Friday nights felt like heaven instead. Everybody had a name and a ride, reputation on the line with pride. From the stoplight down to the edge of town, we'd lay it down when the sun went down. Yeah, word got around when the fast cars came. Every race out there made a name. Those were our Main Street memories, cruising slow through our golden years. Million miles on a two-lane dream, blacktop hearts and gasoline. V8 motors thundering loud, shaking glass all through downtown. Camaros, Mustangs, Mopar too. Everybody asking who's gonna rule. Girls waving, hey, take me for a ride. Young hearts burning under neon lights. Yeah, we didn't know just what we had, but looking back, man, it don't get better than that. Those Main Street memories. Now the nights live in rear view glass, faded just a little, but they still last. Every laugh, every turn, every street light glow, still riding shotgun in my soul. Yeah, those Main Street memories still running wild inside of me. Million miles, but I go again, just to be back there with my friends. V8 motors rolling through time, still hear that thunder in my mind. Camaros, Mustangs, Mopar pride, still hear echoes when I close my eyes. Girls waving like time stood still, and somehow deep down it always will. Yeah, we didn't know just what we had, but those were the best days we'll never get back. Those Main Street memories.
Main Street Memories right here on Pedal to the Metal Motors and Music. So, Carter, roller donuts were something that I did at the end of my show that I did in Castle Rock Radio called Monster Truck Radio. And I would push myself away from the desk, and I had a bunch of room around me, which I don't have right here. And I would sit here and just spin in my chair. And I would spin and spin and spin and spin. And well, there was several times that I got dizzy and I fell out of the floor, on the floor, out of the chair. And it got to be to where that's what people wanted me to do. So roller donuts were just something crazy that I did at the end of the show. And I've always been known to do crazy stuff if it entertains people. I guess I'll do it. But that's what roller donuts are right there. I just sat in the chair and spun around, and towards the end of Monster Truck Radio, I would crash every time, and I would get up and I'd have my hat crooked or my hair all messed up, and that's what it is. So let's see here. Said I sorry I was talking about which of the monster trucks look like a shark. I believe that's called Megalodon. Megalodon, I think that's it. So I'm not sure on that, but I'm sure you can look that up. That's a Monster Jam truck, so just look it up under Monster Jam trucks, and you can see like that. So anyway, that's what roller donuts are, and this is it in the show. So we might as well end the show with one more shot of that fireball. This here's my cousin Debbie's song. We'll be right back. No, we won't be back. We're going to go right into the outro after this song. So you guys have a safe weekend, and make sure you tune in. We got J.R. Adams on from Bigfoot. He's going to be talking on the 29th. And then, of course, April will be a whole new month. And it sounds like we're going to get some interviews and stuff from Danny. And I hope so. I hope people want to be on the show. So I want to talk to them, and that's what it's all about. So here it is, one more shot of that fireball right here on Pedal to the Metal, Motors and Music.
Walked in saying I'd take it slow, just a cold beer, then I'd go. Bartender laughed, said, man, good luck. Sit down, a glass with a little red touch. Sweet on the lips, little burn going down. Next thing I know, I'm spinning around. I said, one shot was a bad idea. Now I'm dancing with a bar stool girl right here. Boots on the table, don't know her name, but we're both yelling out the same damn thing. Band playing loud, whole place on fire. I ain't in control, but I ain't getting tired. Yeah, I said one shot, now I'm all in deep, and I ain't leaving till they kick me out of this place tonight. She spun me around like she on the floor, knocked over a chair, then we grabbed one more. Said, you alright? I said, I think so. She said, boy, you ain't even halfway gone. Room starts leaning, lights going wild. We're laughing like we ain't got a care for miles. Give me one more shot of that fireball. One shot was a bad idea. Now I'm dancing with a bar stool girl right here. Boots on the table, don't know her name, but we're both yelling out the same damn thing. Band playing loud, whole place on fire. I ain't in control, but I ain't getting tired. Yeah, I said one shot, now I'm all in deep, and I ain't leaving till they kick me out of this place tonight. Woke up outside with the sunrise glow. Truck still running, radio low. Hat on backwards, dust on my jeans. Trying to remember just where I'd been. Phone's got numbers I don't recognize, and one says, call me, you out ass guy. Give me one more shot of that fireball. I said, one shot was a bad idea. Now I'm thinking about the bar stool girl right here. Boots on the table, don't know her name, but I'd probably do it all the same. Band playing loud, whole place on fire. I ain't in control, but I ain't getting tired. Yeah, I said one shot, now I'm all in deep, and I'd do it all again next Friday night. Yeah, one shot was a bad idea, but I ain't saying I changed a thing.
right, everyone, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Pedal to the Metal. I want to send out a huge thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in and supporting the show. I also want to thank all of our amazing sponsors. You're the ones that help keep the wheels turning, and we truly appreciate you. Be sure to join us every Wednesday and Sunday. We kick things off with music at 6 p.m. each night, and the full show starts at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Until next time, keep the pedal down, heads high, and we'll see you at the next show.